Welcome, delvers, enthusiasts, and super nerds. Everyone give a round of applause for my gathered here. Woo! Thank you guys once again for joining us. I am Joseph, aka Reaper Wolf, and welcome to the pit. I am currently running a little something called Dungeon Dwellers Roleplaying. We made the announcement a few days ago, and it is evolved from, it's almost Pokemon-like in that respect. It evolved from D20. So it's a little more powerful, a little bit simpler, and a lot of fun. Having said that, I am joined by my intrepid delvers here who have been absolute ducks to water to this, and I am ever so grateful for them. Please introduce yourselves and your characters.
Hi, I'm Bryn. I am playing Snorley, the dwarf fighter.
Hi, I'm Benny. I'm playing Go Forth Fenigaster, the halfling rogue.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Daniel. I'm playing Sister Garmon, the human cleric.
I'm Reaper John. I'll be playing the wizard, the elf wizard, Leandros? Leandros? How do you say it? Leandros?
L and a Y. Le. Yeah.
Leandros.
But since we don't have an elven throat, we can't properly pronounce
Got it.
So it's the
For a
best we can
Welshman.
do, us round ears,
Definitely
right?
not Welsh.
Okay, so here's what's basically going on, folks. First, before we get any farther here, there have been 2 sessions prior to this, and our group of sturdy little heroes here have been quietly assaulting a dwarven lair. Or not, excuse me, a goblin lair. A goblin lair. Well, you
Wow,
want to show the
Bryn.
picture of that dwarven forcer. Now it's on my brain. But anyways, they've been assaulting a goblin tower. The goblins have been attacking and taking vessels and captives off the nearby lake Strawn. One of the captives is a well-bred, but family's in kind of ill repute right now, young fellow by the name of Streeton Cardag. And Streeton is unfortunately in the clutches of these creatures. So they are currently trying to retrieve the young heir to the family fortune, along with the family fortune, which includes a mithril ring covered with filigree. And this was actually this is part of a betrothal that was supposed to happen upriver when Streeton was taken. Our heroes have actually managed to enter and gain access to the interior of the tower through a secret tunnel at the base of the structure, in the middle of this vast swamp, and there's a lagoon in the middle of it. And the tower is built on top of the ruins. The goblins are not your typical rabble. These guys have gained access to a tremendous amount of weapons and armor and look a little bit like the goblins from Labyrinth. So the armor is built for someone my size, but it's being worn by guys that are about this tall. Our heroes have just managed to return to a ruined stable on the edge of the property the goblins have not found or explored yet. And they have 2 captives with them. They managed to save 2 of these poor unfortunates that ended up in the clutches of the goblins. They have taken up residence inside the stable, and they know that this is basically going to be an opportunity for a short rest. So, having said that very quickly, a quick rundown as to what your guys' next leg of the plan is going to be. You guys can handle it however you wish. I am open to options, but as you guys have found out so far, the goblins are a little disorganized and a little thick, which has been working to your guys' favor. So during your short rest, what resources would you guys have recompiled, gathered, etc.?
So I would like to talk to the stoic Borum, I think is his name, Borum Keats.
Borum Keats.
I would like to talk to him and ask him about his time here, how long he's been here. Are there any patrols?
Okay.
Was this the only area underneath the fortress where he was working?
Fair enough.
I know that probably underground he probably lost track of what time of day and stuff was. So
Because the goblins have they built all kinds of on the first and second floors of this ruined tower. They've built scaffolds and they've been forcing the captives to labor. So why don't we hold on to that? We will definitely address that in due course. What other things would have also been achieved during this short rest?
Okay, so what Garmon would be doing is, because those goblins definitely weren't just simple run-of-the-mill, so she's going to be giving blessing of the spell Aid to my 3 companions. Okay, there
There
we
you
go. To my 3 companions, I'm casting Aid, which you get to add 5 hit points to your overall hit points for 8 hours.
They're temporary hit points, correct? I believe they're temporary hit points, which is there's a spot on the
Yeah, I see
character
it.
sheet underneath hit points, which has, and what happens is when you sustain injury, those come off first.
Got it.
But here's what's really cool about that. Supposing I hit you with a poisoned arrow or a venomed arrows, and it causes 4 points of damage. Well, guess what? It actually hits that barrier. The temporary hit points take the hit, and you don't get poisoned.
Poisoned. Got it.
Actually, it says it increases their maximum hit points by 5.
Oh, it does. Is this like a first level or a second level?
Second level.
It's a second level. That's why it actually.
Okay.
So they're not temporary, but they function sort of like. But just keep track of it.
Okay.
I would put like a little parentheses on the character sheet.
Yeah.
However, you can keep the notation proper is
Okay.
cool by me.
And then,
Perfect.
so what I'll do is I would only have a second level spell after the short rest, but what I would also do is cast a prayer of healing to have them go up to max and also heal our 2 allies 8 hit points.
Absolutely. So what'll basically happen is that these 2 unfortunate, because they also have a frog gigger. He's an older fella missing a couple fingers on one hand, and he's a frog. He's a frog. Yep. And he's also, but he's much older. He's like in his 80s or so. Just an old school bargee that lives on Lake Strawn, making his living off of collecting and hunting frogs. Not the giant ones you guys fought a session or so ago, right? Halfling. Having said that, great. What other preparations would you guys all have made? Because that could have all happened before you guys short rested. That way you have all your resources available to you after the short rest, or at least most of them.
Okay.
We have 2 abilities given to both the cleric and the wizard. The wizard has devotion or diligence, and the cleric actually has one that's referred to as is devotion. And what it basically does is that because we don't have domains yet. Because we don't have domains, what happens basically is that they can spend a short rest, a little prayer, a little study, a little meditation, and they can recover some, not all, some of their arcane and divine magical power.
Yeah, I since they were both second level spells, I could only recover 1.
Yeah, it's basically, I think it's half your level. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So in preparations, would either of you have made any special preparations before we slide back over to John for a little intensive role play? Oh, it's going to be intense. Ready yourself. Anything specific?
Nothing specific for Snorley.
Just a little rest, recuperation, maybe take care of weapons and armor kind of a thing?
Clean up
Gotcha.
I-
Oh, yeah, there's plenty to clean up.
Also, we found last session some weapons. Maybe we could give our new ally some of those weapons. I was also thinking the gruffin looking one. I will.
Which John will be engaging with momentarily.
Borman?
Yeah, Borman. If he seems to be more of a fighter, I would be willing to lose 1 of my defense to give him my buckler to help him out.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it looks like he doesn't have any armor. It looks like, but if he can fight with a weapon and shield, I would much rather take -1 to my defense. And
The weapons they're referring to are it's a trio of it's a dagger and a short sword and a long sword belonging to this knight whose remains they found in the middle of the swamp, about a mile or so from the tower. Unfortunately, the knight met with misfortune at the hands of 2 ogres. Weakened as he was, he then fell victim to a thirst of sturges, which they later dealt with, which led to an encounter with some giant killer frogs. So, okay, no problem. So having said that, out come the weapons. It's kind of like a Lord of the Rings exposing these weapons. You unfurl them, right? Yeah. And immediately, Borman reaches down, because he sees what you're doing, and he picks up the longsword. He tests its weight a couple times, but it's obvious he doesn't have weapon proficiency in it. But that doesn't, he says, but as a stoic, husky fella, looks a little bit like me, but probably a little taller. But it doesn't look like that's affected his decisions at all. There is murder and revenge in his eyes.
since it looks like he might want to be up front, that's when I would give him my buckler. So
He accepts it with a quick nod, and then manages to work out a very quiet thank you as he does so. As far as the frog gigger, he reaches down with it.
Aw, poor guy.
He picks up the short sword, and then as he stands up, ready when you are, Chief.
I reach over and I put my arm on his shoulder. And I say, "Old one, I think you can sit this one out. We take it from here."
He says, it ain't my choice of arm, but you get me a gigger, and I can put it between their eyes at 10 paces.
We'll look for one.
Yeah, I was just, maybe there's a gigger on the barge or something.
But he sees you guys kind of giving him that look, and then he feels a little shamed.
Oh no.
So someone want to kind of smooth things over a little
Far
bit?
be it from me, a short queen, to say that someone can't go into battle. You and I, we're brothers in arms.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Then he'll be standing close to you as your shield mate moving forward.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay. And he looks 10 feet tall, even hunched over like this. Moving back over towards you, Borman sits down and he looks down the length of the weapon, trying to look like he knows what he's doing with it, but it's obvious he's probably more comfortable with something else. So keep an eye out. If there's another weapon off of a defeated enemy, you can probably easily just shift it into his possession, but make sure you also keep track of the enemy or your ally, because if you don't give them something to do, they go on defense or they aid whoever you're attached to. And you can shuttle them around as allies.
I was actually going to say, but I think you might want to keep it. Could he actually be beneficial? Like he's more skilled with a bow than anything?
I don't know. We'll ask him. Borum,
you
what
can
is
ask
your
him.
what is your arm of choice?
He actually looks a little guilty about the whole thing, and he says, "I'll be fine."
Oh no.
He says, if one
I
of the
like
blighters
hitting
turns up with a
things.
crossbow, I'll avail you.
I
Okay.
So, shifting gears back to the investigation portion of this, and I assume that someone's going to be occasionally going to one of the vine covered windows of the stable that faces the tower to at least keep a watch. It's I don't want to catch you guys by surprise when
Oh,
something so
yeah.
rudimentary is overlooked because we have a short time.
Yeah,
I'm definitely peeking
Okay.
over with my
Actually,
short
I'll
stature.
do you one better. How about just there's a number of crates that can easily
Oh,
be pushed
good. A
over,
barrel
make a
or
little
something, yeah.
stack, and then you can hop up and keep an eye
I
on
was
it.
going to say,
stuff.
I was going to also help out with that. It could also be she's on my shoulders and we're looking at two different positions.
Windows that big?
I imagine the
doubt it.
windows were really, really small, and the vines
cute
ran
image.
down the wall,
Yes.
ran over the
Okay.
over the ceilings, down the walls, into the windows, and then fanned out across the interior.
Okay,
of
that
the
makes sense.
stable.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So the windows
Yeah.
are just
All right, then in that case, I will guidance you. So you get a,
Sure.
if you have to
Do
just,
something.
sounds good.
Once again, you're not going to be sure of the timing of guidance. It's not like the goblins are coming. Oh, at that very moment, you just happen to find that 1 minute block where you can hit somebody with a
I'll
guidance.
definitely scream though.
Yeah. So that's the limit of guidance. It's not something that
Yeah.
you can cast while someone's making a pot, right? You wait till the end of the pot being made before you cast the spell. No, I'm afraid it doesn't quite work that way. I'm sorry. But you can aid in other ways. I'm also looking out another window.
all
I
right,
was gonna
I'll
say
do,
there's probably more than one
And
window.
mechanically, it works out to be almost exactly the same.
all right, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. So having said that, you guys so half of you doing that, half of you, and then you have got your own. And by the way, Borman will now attach himself to you as your shield mate. So you're now responsible. Okay. And again, when you don't order them around, they basically go on full defense, which tends to be more to your advantage because they'll basically stand between you and an incoming attack, and they'll actually they'll get the +4 to their defense. Okay. So in which case, hit me with questions, like these pointed questions that are really fast here. So
How long has he been here? That's what I would say. Hey, Mr. Keats. Mr. Keats.
near on to 8 days. They work us overnights when the
For
goblins
you-
can see.
Where do you sleep during the day? Or
There's a cell deep in the pit
Are all of the captives there?
when they're not toiling. The goblins keep them busy, but well, not all of them are there anymore.
Be a young, handsome, maybe noble-born person that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's
cool.
no missing a Carmag.
I didn't think so.
Now, in spite of how you've heard about him, this young fella, he deserves better. He says his folk, his family, that name is long past tarnished. But he's got a good heart, even though his head is about as soft as unfired clay.
Oh, he's a himbo.
So once we get there, you'll know where to take us.
He says, picks up a stick, scoots aside a bunch of brush inside of the floor,
And I pull out my
and then
cartography stuff.
he'll quickly draw a simple map
Yeah.
that shows the tower in the middle of the island, in the middle of the lagoon, with a simple trail that
Okay.
leads up to the terra firma. And then he shows there's a spiral staircase in the middle of the place, and they march us out the front door, and then on the scaffolding where they work us to death.
Okay.
And like I said, there's quite a few captives that have,
Passed.
and
Not come back to
in
the
spite
cells.
of the meager hunting, the goblins aren't missing meals.
Oh.
Oh,
That's why they're called blood bite.
I hate that. That's pretty bad.
I do have a question. Do any of you know a name Turs?
Oh, yeah. That rat weasel.
You've crossed paths with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is in league with them goblins.
I think we
Yeah.
figured as much. We deduced as much.
Not really subtle.
He was a
about it.
captive of ours once, and by
That's
once I
his
mean
game.
yesterday.
He came in. I was actually on one of the craft he came in on. And he went on his merry way with a handful of this and that, grumbling the whole way.
He came in as a captive.
I was on board the boat when he got taken.
Yeah, I remember he's been captive three
He
times.
moored up claiming his boat had a couple holes and it was taking on water. So, of course, we were lake men. We looked after him. We brought him on board.
You're honest men.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he betrayed you.
As we found out, because they let him out and he just wandered on off.
Yep. He's
That's
been captured
scummy.
3 times.
That's
Rat
really
bastard is the wrong word for something like that. That's the worst.
Scheming
Yes.
bastard is more like.
So, next question.
As he drew the map and everything, I pulled out my cartography
Mm-hmm.
stuff and I did a crude little drawing of it so we can have it.
The dungeons are right off of the spiral staircase that go down through the guts of the place. There's a central chamber, and directly off of it is a tunnel that kind of faces like in this direction. No. He points to with a dirty fingernail. He points on the paper. No, more like this.
Okay.
And he's got a pretty good eye. He's got a pretty good eye for spatial relations, because when it's all said and done, you guys have a very incomplete map, but you guys are not. Remember how they were excavating on the second room in off of the dungeon tunnel?
The water tunnel? Yeah.
Yeah, there's an excavation that's happening. They're actually opening up a tunnel between those two, between the captive room and the storage room. That way, captives can be brought in and loaded right into the storage space.
Without having to go outside or anything. Yeah, that's pretty clever.
Yeah. And as far as when they do march them out, because occasionally they're forced to labor in other parts, he says, I know I ain't been there myself besides walking through, but I do know that you walk right through the chieftain's chambers. Grashgrang,
Gosh dang.
Yeah.
can't miss him. A big,
Big beefy guy
Big-
looks.
And Theleg.
Yes.
half orc, half goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen him too? Yeah. Yeah, you walk right through his chambers on the way to that tunnel. However, I do got a warning for you. So you folk have been through the dungeons a bit. You've been through the tunnels a
We
bit.
went in
That's
through
up
where
to
we
where
got
you
you.
were.
How far did you get? Did you see the bone snapper?
Oh, no, what?
Oh,
No, Mr.
tell us
The what
about
now?
the bone snapper.
We
The goblins have all the charm of a moray eel, believe you me. But one of them, they call him the ghost bender. He bound this creature of the swamp. And it's, I've seen him feed it. Imagine you take a big lizard, and the big lizard move like a big ape.
Gross.
And he describes in vivid detail basically a Neanderthal version of a dinosaur.
Oh, nice.
If there was
okay.
a primitive, slack-jawed, girthy, husky dinosaur, that's what he describes to you. Bone snapper.
Bones.
Okay.
Bone Snapper. He says it guards the corridor between the boss's chambers and the chamber you are referring to, where they store all the boxes and crates and,
Okay.
and the
So we
the
could have
booty.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about it. We'll definitely not run into that later
we're
on.
good.
It's on a-
So-
it's- Believe you me, it's on a short chain, but it's got plenty of reach.
All right.
They push us up against the wall so we can get past it. But they're planning on opening up a chamber.
Okay.
Remember those? You guys think about? Remember there were laborers in that room, and they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's that little side chamber that I drew off, right? That hadn't quite connected to anything
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
On the other side is where the captives are kept.
Okay. Is there an easy way to get there from the chamber where we found you
He says.
without going? I mean, we could go through Bone Snapper. I don't mind.
Well,
Good
the
try.
dwarf is sitting there, who hasn't said hardly anything, is sitting there thinking, "Give me a pickaxe in about half an hour, I can tunnel through wall."
You do love prospecting.
Let's go.
Just being a dwarf, they know how to excavate. So you guys,
We could do that.
You
And it's
saw
still daytime,
tools.
so.
You saw all kinds of tools and odds and ends, and also, right, they were doing all kinds of construction. So you guys might be able to purloin a couple of tools, make your entrance. Now the question is, first, let's resolve you before I throw some more at you.
Were there
We do
any
have to move this along.
patrols? Where you were working? Were there any patrols that went by?
They keep 2 to 3 of us, but they keep us hungry, so it doesn't take many of them to keep order.
Got it. Okay.
But if you see captives working, you know a couple of goblins are lurking nearby, but they're not real diligent about it.
Okay.
They're overconfident little bastishes.
I spit.
He'll it goes for the distance.
Oh, it's a contest. Mm.
Great, cool. Anyway,
But
so
the entire time he's just getting more. He's literally just winding up
Yeah.
more and more. He is looking forward to spilling these things blood.
All right. I think we go
They
back to where we
cost
were.
me
Yeah.
everything. His craft, his livelihood, everything.
Oh, his craft. What?
They
what
took
were-
his.
They took his boat.
They took his barge.
He was.
Oh,
he
And then
was-
they
Digger.
used it,
He
and
worked-
they used it to do more stuff to more lake.
Oh, it was the fisherman.
Yeah.
It's the fisherman.
Right.
The old fellow leans against the wall, snoring very quietly, almost sweetly. He's actually dozed off. Little short sword across his lap,
I pat his little head.
And where's the owl in all this?
looking down in a very judgmental way, like.
Got it. Okay.
Look, we'll
All right.
leave soon. All right, don't be so judgy.
I'll take out a piece of meat that we have, and I'll put it like underneath where the owl is. Like if he's kind of up, I'll lay it on the ground.
Good
And
idea.
Leandro, being an elf, of course, by all means, try to give me an animal handling check, my friend. I will tell you that this is exceedingly difficult.
Good.
7.
The owl looks less enthused about a chunk of dead meat.
All right. I'll just leave it there. I don't need it right now.
And I will point out to everyone in the universe at this point, now would be a good time to mention this, is that we are using Joss points, which are basically a reroll mechanism. But there's more that you can do with them than that. Last session, because they saved a group of captives and played magnificently through this scenario, I am putting a group Joss point in the middle of the table, which can be spent by anybody at any time.
Yay.
You guys earned it. I'm putting it in play. There it is. And remember, you can always nominate each other for a point of Joss if somebody is sitting without a piece.
Okay.
5, 4,
No, I'm good.
3,
No?
2.
You need to earn it from me.
Yeah,
Oh,
From
man.
me. It needs
we're
to be cool.
stingy folk.
we are.
There it is. But you guys will have plenty of cool
Yeah.
I was
opportunities
gonna
to draw
say,
some
we're
more.
So I
about
think-
to embark on an epic killing quest.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So are you nominating somebody?
not yet.
Oh, she's rough too.
Yeah.
Boy, Benny.
So we go back to since we're familiar
You
with
guys
it.
have a number of possibilities of approaching the place. You
Okay.
guys could do more scouting, which is reasonable because you do have a very accomplished little halfling here. But you guys also have multiple points of entrance into the place, right? So you have to assume that if you've been gone for an hour or two, long enough to have achieved all of this, right? The goblins could very well have, diligent or no, the goblins could have discovered. Hemabturs could have gotten into the tower and ratted you out. True
Like
to
the rat
character.
that he is.
Yes, like the rodent he is. Could have ratted you out to the goblins, and they could be lying in wait at a mass, like an angry anthill at that entrance, or not. There's a lot of unknowns here. So one thing I always suggest to people is don't keep revisiting things when you have no control over how things are when you've left. So what you do is you create distractions to focus their attention elsewhere.
Oh, we did
And
have
you
a
guys-
certain
Barred.
distracted lined up.
You do.
We can light it on
So-
fire too. How about that?
Oh,
a fire relocated elsewhere.
See, that's a lot
so
better
they're-
than what I was going to say. I was going to say give the old man a flying spell so he can
Oh
fly
no!
Okay, so we're gonna use the barge.
Yeah.
Probably don't want to put the old codger in harm's way.
No.
We just saved
Although
him.
he's going with you, I mean, okay.
Fine right now.
He's
Okay,
responsible
so
for himself.
how would you guys like to handle that? I'm all ears.
Well, we have an accomplished fisherman
You do?
who could help us figure out the best way to move everything outwards. So I say we start there. Boren, do you?
Okay, you ask his
idea.
advice?
Yeah.
I don't generally have NPCs have a lot of inspiration because ultimately you guys are the heroes. So it's
Oh, fair,
important.
yeah.
But using his rough, calloused
Yeah, he
hands
knows how to
for some
row
physical
and move
labor,
it.
well, no, that's very much in keeping, and he's very enthusiastic to help.
Oh, good.
What he would suggest is create a distraction over here and come in over here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
think that's a good plan.
All ready to just.
We go back through the water tunnel, right? Yeah, yeah. Talking to
Sorry,
your
we have
microphone.
to move around the microphone just a little bit. There we go.
Yeah.
How's that?
No, it's,
Picking up,
can't hear you.
Penny.
it's coming in and out.
Interesting. Technical glitch. We have gremlins. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
We are fighting goblins.
Let me
They
double
may
check
have
this. I don't
tampered
remember
with
putting
the
any
dice.
gremlins in this adventure at all. That's ridiculous. That's another adventure. Did I
Spoilers.
Did I spoil that?
Yeah.
Did I just say that there are other adventures? Maybe a large pile of them sitting in right there or something?
Never
Almost
know.
like that's what I've been doing for like an entire year.
could be
It's
lying.
awesome. Could be. I'm a big fibber. Big fibber. Are we cool? You got your cool voice now? We cool?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Sounds better.
Fantastic. Thank you, engineer beyond peer. Thank you very much.
All right, so fire barge. and then distraction.
So that's what he suggested, and
Yeah.
so it only takes a couple of you guys to trek out to where you left the barge, because you guys kind of pushed it here and then separated from it, and then gained access
Yeah.
to the first the stable and then the secret
Two
tunnel.
little tiny little islands. I think.
Exactly, there are two little islands. So I can park that on the second island in a concealed manner, and you guys, when you guys arrive there with your two companions now, and it's getting later in the day, but it's still mid-morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys left it at dawn, basically. Before you arrived here as the suns were rising, if you recall.
Yep.
Yes, yes, I do.
So as you guys arrive, a quick look around the place. None of you are particularly adept at woodsy, foresty stuff. However, you have two outdoorsman types. So between the two of them, I will give them a single test and see if they spot anything untoward.
Okay.
yeah.
As soon as they walk up, you see that the old codger is silent. He's looking very critically, and you see him look down, and he quickly snatches up a frog and then kind of puts it in his pocket.
Okay.
Because these
That was
guys have been
nice.
starved. Oh yeah, he kind of did like the Danielson grabbing the pebble out of the hand. But it's more importantly is what he's looking for, and he says, "No goblins here." And he kind of gives you guys the thumbs up.
Oh, he's a track.
So they haven't
He's
found it.
He's got a little
Yeah.
triumph. Well, he doesn't see any tracks. He doesn't see anything else. And he says, if this is what you guys came in on, this ain't been touched by no goblin.
Nice.
All right.
All
And
right.
Borman
sounds
just
good.
kind of looks at him like,
Yeah, I'm impressed by this frog snatching. Like
Oh.
that was.
he knows. He knows his business.
Yeah.
I nominate him for a Joss point.
I will second that.
I'll give him a job. NPCs don't normally earn
Beautiful.
Joss points, but that is a great way to keep your allies. By the way, once you do have a shieldmate or a companion with you, you can actually give them your Joss point.
Okay, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yes, absolutely. But yep, if you think that's worthy, cool by me, and it might keep them alive. Who knows?
I hope so.
You guys quickly probably offload the heaviest elements of the barge, I would assume.
Yeah, it needs to like, kind of float.
It needs to
Yes,
float
yeah.
better, and because you're going to be loading it up with as much dry wood as you can find and brush, right? Because that's
Right.
the plan.
Needs to look like a Viking funeral.
Nice. Having said that, you heap it up, and based upon your guys' positioning here, there's not much of a current, but you don't require one. So if you just give it a harsh nudge from your position from the closer island to the shore,
I think a good shove
Yeah,
from six
I
of
think
us should do it.
I think me and Dwarf will be able to do that. Us
Fair enough.
Teaming up together, be able to push it.
fair enough. What I would also recommend is that that'll give it a little bit of an oomph, but also giving it someone steering it to position it in a good spot. That way it doesn't just float in the middle of the lagoon and maybe the wind blows it around a little bit. That would be even better because that way you control where it goes. And then you just rejoin the party. If
We
someone
can
was
aim it
just-
towards the beach. So it
That
kind
is
of
true.
maybe it wails like it wails.
That's
Okay.
true.
Yeah, beaches
Yeah.
itself. That'd be pretty good.
Okay, works for me. In which case, how are we going to set it alight? Does anyone have like a bow that you could possibly rig up with a little lantern oil and a little bit of cloth?
I do have a bow.
Fair enough.
I'm a crafter. I can probably easily figure something out.
So if you have an extra flask of oil, I would suggest you use it to the maximum advantage. Somebody does have a lantern, which means they probably have a...
I do have an oil flask.
See, there you go. And I assume
Okay.
the lantern is full and you have
Yeah.
the spare. So you save just a little bit of lantern oil, just a little, as much as you can spare. And in
course.
short order, you soak the goodies. Any scraps of cloth can also be used to...
Say any leftover wine that may have been there. could also-
Wine is not particularly flammable, but you know what is?
Brandy,
you know,
though.
You know what is? High quality 3 gold piece
No,
of bottled
that's
brandy.
fine.
Oh, that's the celebration
I was
drink.
going to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
I got- okay,
don't
okay,
have
okay,
that on my
Heaven
person.
forbid, heaven
Yeah.
forbid, right? As you guys push it up against the nearest area and then withdraw to a safe distance, no attack rolls required, but I just love the image of you someone suddenly drawing back their bow, maybe the dwarf, who has an awesome short bow, and lets fly with a flaming arrow. It hits. It takes a moment for it to do its job, and then all of a sudden, the Viking funeral, there's a whoomph as some very dry tinder recovered from some of the nearby dead trees catches light, and it's just roaring. It catches the wind just right and actually goes a little farther than you guys had anticipated before it nudges up against basically it's a shallow, a murky, greasy shallow of mud. And then just sits there roaring away.
Nice.
And it sends great black plumes of smoke up into the
nice.
sky.
Yeah, that's good. A nice signal.
And so all eyes are effectively northeastish,
Sure.
northeastish, as you know that there are a number of goblins in the tower. Okay, so the question is, what entrance do you guys want to take advantage of? Assuming you guys get back to the island, assuming you get back to the stable without any problems, what entrance do you guys want to take advantage of? Because the tower is got multiple holes and multiple entrances, but you were told, what about the entrances?
They're trapped.
They're
trapped.
trapped.
Correct.
Definitely guarded.
But Borman told you that they are marched out of the double doors in the front.
Yeah.
So that there's some element of the trap that can be disarmed easily by the goblins to
Right.
march their captives out every day to work,
Yeah.
or every night at work.
I think going through
Or-
the water tunnel. I think the water tunnels.
Do you think going back through the water
I think
tunnel?
so too,
so,
because
too.
I think they can get back to where they came from, the captives.
So you're counting on
Yeah.
that the goblins that haven't been discovered.
They've been distracted. Well, I mean, we did hide. We took the goblins with us when we were leaving.
That's true.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you left their.
We left their equipment
You
or
left.
whatever.
Last time I heard, you guys dunked them into the
Water.
Yeah,
the
the
water
water,
and left
yeah.
them.
Well,
with rocks in
Yeah.
their
Rocks
pockets,
so they would
right?
be
So they would sink.
So
But
we're
again,
hoping nobody went and looked in.
Or
the
they were
water.
on their lunch break or something. You know.
yeah, I can check the break room.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it,
they're
yeah.
in there playing Nintendo.
They're like, oh, they're not in here. Why aren't they working? And then, oh, they probably went.
But you're counting on that.
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
you're wrong?
Then we'll deal with it.
Quick escape,
Probably.
back through the tunnel.
I think I'll do like a scout ahead, just kind of peek through. and see
It
if
is
there's
not a
people.
bad idea to let the scouts scout.
Yeah.
Nope.
It is a
Wow.
really good idea.
We're not overconfident.
No,
Okay.
yeah, certainly
Well,
not.
overconfidence does. Yeah, I applaud your brashness. I just don't want you guys to feel like, well, then Joseph sent an angry anthill of goblins, 300 apiece.
That sounds fun.
Well, it would be fun for about 2 minutes, and then the round would
Then
turn
we die.
against you. Yeah, ganging up is rough in any role-playing game. Okay, so anyways, having said that, I love the idea of scouting ahead. The rest of the crew gathers. You guys reach again, you reach the next island, no problem. You guys reach the stable, no problem. The old fella, he's a little laggy. He's got a movement rate about equivalent to the dwarf, so it doesn't hurt anything, right?
Yeah, you can pat
Got
him
short
around.
legs.
Borman looks a little too revved up. He looks a little.
All right, my guy.
He's
We'll
looking
get
forward
there.
to it.
We'll get there.
He's a little irrational.
Hey, why don't you stay back with me and the old man, because I want to make sure that he's going to be okay during this.
I will give him the
I'm-
order to protect the old one as my shield, as my
Wow.
shield
Yeah,
mate.
he'll
Bossy.
And
he will relent, but it's pretty obvious that the seething storm inside of him. He's ready to Hulk out.
Yeah.
So as you guys advance down the tunnel, which as you recall, it's only 3 or 4 feet high above the water line, and it's about 7 feet wide. Down into the murky water you go, and then you guys all kind of sort of pull yourselves along. Most of you guys just kind of sort of do one of these numbers, because the water's 4 or 5 feet deep. But that means the halfling is like kind of sort of, if you guys recall correctly, was clinging to somebody, right? As you guys are getting close to the entrance to the space, you guys then make sure that the lights are shuttered way down to next to nothing, right? Light spell cast on somebody's weapon again?
Yep.
Okay. So, and then again, you can then sheath it to kind of sort of cover it and hide it, so it only generates like a candle, which the goblins will still pick up potentially. But at least you're not walking around in the dark.
Yeah.
The halfling gets to the end of the tunnel, and then there's that large dock space beyond. A cruddy, moldy dock extends in zigzags out from the deck, from the shoreline across the way. And with the limited light available to you, but you do have a little bramble-wise in you, so you do have low light vision, which
I am
makes you
quite
unusual.
blessed, yes.
Quite blessed on your mother's side, as I recall.
Oh, yeah.
You can see through the gloom. Nothing unusual. It's exactly as you had left it. In fact, there are murky shapes, roughly goblin-shaped, lying at the bottom of
Where
the
we
murky
left
pool,
them.
exactly where you
Okay,
left them.
okay. So nobody's been down this part yet.
It doesn't look like it.
Okay. Can I see the cards that we left on the barrels? Like, are those still there? Like, is it just untouched?
It doesn't look like anyone. Well, you guys weren't gone forever. You guys weren't gone
Yeah.
for hours and hours. You
I
guys were
would say
gone
like
for
an hour,
long enough for
maybe.
there. Yeah, exactly. There's long enough for there to have been like a bit of a beat. We turned a couple pages of the book, right? But
Okay.
it was like I said. It's only mid-morning at this point.
Yeah, we're doing mini infiltrations. Okay.
And that's what you should do. There should be many infiltrations.
Yes.
Because, like I said, angry anthill, not good.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Anyways, as far as your companions behind you, moments have gone by. Do you?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like, all right, slowly, but like, it seems like
tunnel.
everything's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, come
we'll,
on.
we'll follow. Yep.
Yeah, don't be loud or nothing, but you know.
And at that point, you may turn up your lantern just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit, so we
Okay,
can
so
see a
turn it
little
up to
bit
like half.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That illuminates the space. Again, no sudden goblin appearances, no surprises, and no significant noises as far as you can tell. You guys know that the goblins are nocturnal, so they're going to be sleeping off last night's play. You guys arrive dock?
Yeah.
To the dock?
Yeah.
You guys,
Climb up on the.
and then you arrive at the beach on the far side,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So, and then the tunnel remains open as you guys recall it. There's a bunch of footsteps where you guys had come and gone, but what you don't see is you don't see a bunch of goblin tracks coming in after you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
In fact, the old man is busily looking exactly that, and he looks at you and he just kind of,
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you want to scout ahead up to the
Up to
excavation?
the, we're going to do, yeah, kind
Like
of the same
last
thing. We're gonna
time?
creep up and just kind of see if there's
All the
anybody
boxes
in
and debris.
the. Right, exactly. In the quote-unquote storage room.
20 or so paces along as you creep along. Your companion's a short distance behind you.
Running space, you know.
A quick
One
dash.
turn.
The boxes and crates appear up ahead, and again, looking for any little detail, any kind of pass. You turn down your lantern to get a look. You don't see any telltale signs of goblin activity. Nothing.
Okay.
The room itself is, as you look inside, there's the wheelbarrow where you left it, or you actually were standing in it.
Yeah.
And then all the crates where you were, where the elf was actually firing off his barrages. And then a little discoloration on the ground where a couple creatures met their ends.
Is the light source that was in here because there was two captives working still?
There was a lantern that was turned down fairly low, and it was actually sitting on a pile of crates just to the right of the excavation point along the wall.
Got it.
Is it still on?
It is still lit, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
Okay.
yep. It is because
I
it
was
was
gonna say, we
burning.
might
It was
wanna-
burning really low.
Pocket that and save the oil. And just
Then you snatch up
give
the
that
lantern and add a lantern to your gear list. No problem at all. Second lantern, no problem.
Who will?
And since there was already an excavation going on here, the dwarf, of course, these are inferior tools, this is an inferior investigation, etc.
Yeah.
But how hard can it be to tear a hole through 5 foot of rock?
Not hard at all.
A high five.
And
the
while
dwarf. You
they're
got
while they're
this.
excavating, I'll stand watch at because I believe there was 2 tunnels that went like
There
this.
was there was.
Yes.
There was one tunnel, and at this point, Borman will point back to one of the closest of the tunnels on the left-hand wall, the outer wall tunnel, and he says, that goes to the
Okay.
chieftain's lair.
Crash.
He doesn't know what's in that passage to the south because it angles downwards. The goblins avoid it. They've had their captives throwing all kinds of trash down there.
Okay.
So it's
Interesting.
packed with all kinds of trash.
Okay.
Okay.
What goblins don't want. Judge your own for that.
It smells down.
Okay,
There's a
You can
stench.
see a stench. You can see
Yeah.
stink lines coming from it.
It's like the heat in the summer.
Oh yeah, you definitely can. Oh, yeah.
I'll stand. I'll go and stand at the mouth of that tunnel
Fair enough.
and kind of turn my elf ear towards the
the garbage?
towards the
Oh.
darkness.
Okay.
The
Fair
darkness.
enough. No problem at all. Just standing there, go ahead and give me a quick intelligence check for me, please, because you're fairly close. The air here is relatively still, but occasionally there'll be a faint, kind of like almost like a faint breath that'll move through the space.
17.
Well done. There is a reptile house in the summer, kind of an odor
Kind
coming
of like a
from
terrarium.
kind of not my terrariums, but more like an animal house kind
it.
of a smell, like the zoo.
Got it.
Coming from that passageway.
Kinda humid.
And you hear a rattle of something moving through dry old bones and and then you hear a chain being dragged
Clad.
quietly
That sounds like
across
a-
the floor, as if whatever
Oh,
it
it's
is,
down there.
it's bored and it's a little hungry, and then you hear a low growl, not from up here, from down here.
Okay.
That's a pretty big growl.
Oh yeah.
Like the bubbling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He's hungry.
like an angry cauldron.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. So I'll just stand watch there while they're.
Okay, and I'll start
Excavating.
Good
excavating.
idea.
You begin excavating.
I do. Yes.
Okay. What are you doing in the meantime, Claire? Are you also at the corridor, or what are you doing?
I am going to. I think I'm going to be with the wizard. I'm going to be, just in case something happens. I don't want our even with the 5 extra extra hit points. I want to make sure our wizard isn't by himself in case something.
You're standing there at the door, also as a guard. Sentry. Gotcha. If anything comes running, you let them know, because they're going to be too busy basically excavating.
Right.
I assume you're going to be quietly moving the rock, or cutting through the rock, and you're going to be
I'm gonna be
helping
moving
it.
it, yeah.
Gotcha. And of course, Borman and Keats will be assisting in this.
Yes,
Beautiful.
because now they're familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a plus one.
Excavating.
Kind of.
Excavating.
Well, I mean, they are laborers, right?
Yeah, there
and,
you
and-
go.
And they've taken turns at basically doing this. Okay, so I wouldn't really require a roll like this, because what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to make a check basically to see if the goblin's over here, because you're going to be making steps, you're going to be careful, right? But it's not like you can give like the full dwarf swing on this.
But
Well, they
they
expect
would
people to
expect
be-
to hear
yeah, they would expect
excavating,
people
They
to
might
right?
expect to hear something, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. So, but they haven't heard anything in a while, which
Got
is
it,
always
yeah.
telling, right? But they should be asleep during this time.
So maybe we should be making some excavating.
So maybe it'll work to your favor, maybe it
meager.
won't. It's up in the air, right?
I'm gonna ask the old man to make some groans so that it sounds like
He's the one
like he's working. Yeah.
He says, "Don't worry, lass. I'll be making plenty of groans.
All right. All right.
I'll be
These
making.
rocks are heavy.
I'll be making plenty."
Okay.
Okay, so you set to work. It doesn't take very long. Most of the rock is very porous, and you literally only have 3 feet to clear because it's been worked from the other side.
The kind of a sandy consistency.
Actually, the rock
Sand?
here is more limestoney.
Oh, okay.
More
I was
limestone-y,
gonna try and get
which
you
I'm
to
sure
go.
the dwarf
Sorry.
will be like, that's definitely limestone. So as that happens and it bursts through, you hear goblins speak through the gaping hole on the other side,
Shit.
and you actually hear the voice on the other side go, "Ha ha! They made it through! Finally, filthy, rotten captives! They're useless except for as a little something extra to join the rats in the stew pot." And they're elated, and you hear movement coming towards the hole, the dwarf height hole in the
Okay.
wall.
Can
they're gonna-
I tell how many there are?
You hear 2 voices, but that's not what you actually hear a third voice that joins and goes, "About time," and then you hear a piece of like maybe a chair or something or a stool being pushed, and they're all 3 going to approach the opening to greet the recent arrivals.
Do you think
thinking-
we could successfully pass ourselves as
Oh, man.
prisoners?
So how do you guys want to handle this?
I'm familiar with goblin.
Yep. Yeah.
So I
So
could
you're gonna masquerade as your ancestral enemy?
I could try.
You absolutely can. You
Okay.
know how they talk. Fair enough. Why don't you go ahead and give me a quick charisma check as you run it through the lens of your knowledge.
You got this.
You may count this. You are definitely proficient for
Very
this check.
nice.
I am
because
proficient?
this is a
All right.
racial thing.
All right, so a 19.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm
Bravo.
gonna make a quick check for the most peary of the goblins,
Oh no.
confirming the fumble.
Oh, yes.
I won't make the other roll. There's no point at this point. And under the circumstances, you control how this surprise turns out. You literally can tell me how you want to proceed, like what actually happens. As the goblins gather around, maybe one of them sticks his head through or puts his arm. You tell me what happens next. As three
All
unsuspecting
right,
goblins.
Snorley, are you going to say anything?
Their
'Cause if
pants
not,
are around
I'm
their
gonna stab
ankles.
You said one sticks his head through.
Could.
So they.
You literally
Okay.
We
tell me
decide.
what happens. Yeah.
Hey, boss. The old one's getting weak. Can I send him back to the cell?
Oh, interesting.
I kind of moved the older one into
Towards the
front
So you
and like,
jack him forward so he
yeah,
sees
and
you
like
over?
kind of like bend him to make him like groan more.
And you're like, I'm sorry. He goes, I understand. Oh! He groans. And you have no choice. You basically push him up against the rock, and they hear the goblins. One of them actually reaches forward, reaches his just clammy little clawed hand through.
I'm sorry.
Grabs the old man's face. He goes, too bad, old timer. He actually swats him like this, and then
So
drags a
rude.
nail down his face.
I'm sorry.
I understand. And he goes, and they're like, yeah, we'll come around.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so you guys, two goblins are going to be approaching from the other side.
Nice.
This goblin remains here. So as these two withdraw, it'll be several minutes before they arrive. What happens to this goblin then?
If
You could
We're
it
not
will
there.
take almost no
Right,
effort on your
right.
part for you to widen the hole, or you just reach through the hole
I was gonna
and pull
say-
him through like Play-Doh.
I'm gonna grab his arm,
And like bang his head.
ready?
Yes. Got it. I'm ready.
Pull him into
And then pull
the
him through.
halflings.
Give me
and I-
give me a quick strength check. Don't forget your proficiency bonus for this.
Ooh.
She's a little on fire today, folks.
So, proficiency or
Definitely proficient, definitely
Both,
strength.
so both? Okay.
Definitely.
In that case, it's an 18.
The arm is grabbed, you jack him through, and then he comes through like a tube through the Play-Doh Fun Factory. As you pull him most of the way through, he snags at his rib cage, and then you
Oh yeah, I'm stabbing.
give me your
He's
attack.
a kebab.
Give me an attack.
Okay. All right. 17.
The blade disappears. He manages to make one last little wet, and then that is the end of it.
Beautiful.
No, I'm going to let everyone know, okay, they're coming around the
they're coming
back.
around.
So
You
let's
basically
get
jump
ready.
out.
Be ready. Yeah.
And you guys are telling them that there's two.
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
There is, let's see here, distance is being what it is.
Tunnel.
There is an angry shout from the passageway that you guys are standing in.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It echoes, and the voice is as sharp as razor wire. It's got kind of a barbed wire quality to it. And the goblin is garbled, but it's still intelligible that no goblin. And you hear, "This better be good, lord." And it's a voice that comes from down here, but it sounds like it's about this tall.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What I
The
did,
chieftain joins the retinue and yells, "Wait!" And then then you hear more sounds, and there's more footsteps, and you hear kind of a, and you can actually hear a bunch of noise, and before you know it, long before the goblins will show up, there's a sound of mustering troops.
Oh God.
hey, remember our fire?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It's only been moments, right? So there's all kinds of activity. And then you hear, "What? Fire?" And then all of a sudden, the mustering roars past and gets farther away.
Oh, beautiful.
And then you hear it going, the dwarf knows that's the sound of heavy armored steps going up a flight of stairs.
Thank God.
And then the angry anthill explodes, and then it runs in rivulets down the side of the hill, that's the island, and then it's headed towards the burning.
Kind of sounds like an earthquake to us.
The entire place should be shaking.
There's like dust coming from the ceiling. Like
Sound like the boss is still in the tunnel, or that he's like run off with them.
Give me a check. Maybe you picked up on what's going on. This is distant proficiency, definitely, because this is dwarven detection. Can you detect the echoes?
echolocating.
Yep.
If I use a Joss point, maybe I could.
Then re-roll it.
Okay.
So spend a Joss point. Do you have a
Can I
Joss
use
point?
the group one?
Then you spend this Joss point.
So proficiency and what else? Sorry.
Proficiency and your character's intelligence bonus.
Okay, 10.
A 10 is average, though. DC 10 is average, and I wouldn't say this is a terribly difficult roll. It doesn't sound like the boss is going with him.
Okay, so I'm gonna yell through, pretending to be Lard, the goblin again.
Okay,
And I'm
okay.
gonna be like, "Fire! Do you want me to take the captives up to the cell myself?"
Okay, give me a quick charisma check to convince.
Yeah. What do we do with the captives, boss?
Yeah, right.
Proficient or not?
I would say proficient, sure.
15.
Fair enough. It's all about the ruse at this point.
I mean,
You're
I'm
all
trying.
in. The boss will actually walk inwards a short distance, not visible to you guys. He'll actually walk across this chamber and yell down the way. He goes, "I'll send the bodyguards." And he goes, "Nash, Gnarl, deal with his captives." In which case, his two bodyguards join the two guards that have been dispatched to deal with the captives, will be moving up the way. And all you hear is a creature at the end of a chain, like an angry guard dog, pulling, snarling, gnashing. And this thing's voice sounds like 12 crocodiles attacking a 50-gallon drum.
Great.
It is thrashing, bashing, crashing, and it's pulling that chain.
Angry boy.
And the
Okay.
goblin actually says, "You better hope that chain holds." And they poke each other in the ribs.
How tall is the roof? How tall is the ceiling?
Most of the, it's very variable because it's a limestone cavern, but 8 to 9 feet in most places.
Okay.
Generally.
All right.
In which case, large shadows are coming this way, and judging by the sound of the armor, clank, clank, clank.
Oh no.
Those bodyguards, the chieftain's bodyguards, are heavily armored.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to use I would like to take out a small potion from my pouch.
Nice.
It is gray with a little bit of silver, and I'll uncork it and I will swallow it. And it is a potion of spider climbing.
Ta-da!
Okay.
All right.
So I would like to start making my way up to the ceiling, above the entrance of where they're coming from.
If it works more to your advantage, I can actually increase the ceiling height a little bit, give you another 8 or 9, give you like another 4 or 5 feet if that works for you.
I think it's fine wherever it's at.
Okay, cool. A couple stalactites and stalagmites to assist you.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be
Oh,
good.
yes.
Yeah, hide
Dude,
behind
I got you.
one and
I drew them. I might as well mention them.
I will
right?
hide them.
There we
I will
go.
hide behind
Yeah.
a stalagmite.
No
That's closest to
problem.
the entrance.
I just want to give you every opportunity.
Got
you
it.
know? Okay, no problem. A quick doodle on my part, if you folks, because I don't like pre-rendered maps. Feel free to engage me with these questions when we have our forum operating. This would be absolutely. I love talking to the fans and fellow nerds. Absolutely.
And if you're-
While,
go
sorry.
ahead. No, you're fine.
I was going to say, while they're coming down, would it be possible that I'm still like excavating just to make kind of
An
an
exit.
escape hole in
all
case we need
seriousness,
to?
that would probably, in terms of timing,
Yeah.
you getting through in the last bit, making the hole, is the perfect end of that round kind of a situation.
Okay.
So
I'd
it's in
like
the-
to get with the other guys and kind of make like a like a bottleneck sort of, and just kind of, if we have to, barricade that behind us. If
Okay.
we have to escape out the cavern. That way they can't just follow behind. They have to go back through the chieftains.
And
room or
correct me if I'm
something.
wrong. This tunnel that we just started to excavate was connecting to the prisoner's cell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If we can just have
We
like
can
a
go there and get them to help. Us.
exactly.
Good.
Should we send the old man through
To
to go
start
ahead and
unlocking
tell
them?
them?
Tell
Yeah.
them the stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so.
So I'll talk to Grey Arb and be like, hey.
And then I guess
Uh,
Keats gets to kill things like he really wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
help us. Actually, I don't know. We should probably send Keats through. We should probably send Keats through because there might be guards still at the cells.
Okay,
Fair point.
so this is the recent excavation. This represents the boulders, rock, portions of the walls, etc., that you will basically be shattering just as things begin in this room.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is the chamber that actually cuts back and goes around and goes
To the
over
docks?
Back to
towards
the
the docks.
docks.
Exactly. You guys have got a perfect vision of this. This is that passageway that actually descends down into the debris. I called it the spoil heap for a reason. And then this actually cuts down and around, and then presumably the bone snapper is in here somewhere.
That direction.
Presumably.
Okay,
Presumably.
maybe.
Presumably. Well, it's like there's all kinds of obstructions and whatnot that would be, there's portions of the rock. It's easy to see that it's flat wall, but it wouldn't be, right?
Right.
So, and this is actually going to be a slightly more curvy than that. So there we go. So you wouldn't have much of a view of it. You go up the wall and hide amongst the ceiling. You are still standing here. You finish, it collapses, and you see on the far side of it, there's actually going to be a bunch of cells.
Nice.
A T-bone of chamber, like so. Like so. And then the cells, make sure I keep this square, like so.
Thanks, John.
And
Thank you, John.
a makeshift palisade of posts have been driven floor to ceiling to create the cells. It's very crudely cut. But what lies beyond is a very unhappy group of captives
Perfect.
that are nowhere near the gate. They're nowhere near it all, because as they all hide, their sleeping pallets are scattered around the place, and the back wall is lit from your lantern light from because it's water. The back portion of the chamber is actually a grotto of water.
Gross.
And these are they are stacked on top of each other practically like bunk beds.
Yeah.
And there is just, you remember the stench lands coming off of the spoil heap? It's worse coming off of the poor captives.
Yeah.
Overworked, underfed, badly
no
treated.
bathrooms.
Well, they're
That was a
drinking.
grotto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is. Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but you have to just
That's-
use your imagination how terrible it would be. And then off to the side here, making sure and off to here would have been some simple rudimentary furniture, and it was obvious that this is where the goblins were gathered when you guys started coming through.
Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, the corpse of the goblin, broken and squished as it is, lies right there.
We can also use him to barricade the door if we have to.
Thinking about it.
A dwarf with a really good roll could easily cause a cave-in here.
Heyo.
A dwarf can absolutely do that.
Okay.
That's what they do.
Noted.
Plan.
Okay, well, it's a great backup plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 bodyguards, heavy set, covered from head to toe in armor, like Frodo and Sam going into Mordor, right? Lots and lots of armor. The armor's a little baroque, by the way. The armor, by the appearance of it, is badly kept, but the armor is obviously made by humans, and more to the point, it was probably part of a garrison. And it was never recovered from this tower when it was abandoned.
Interesting.
So you can almost imagine the goblins getting into the place for whatever reason, and then finding the armory down in the dungeon, and then
Neat. Free stuff.
payday, +9 bonus to my defense. I'd like me some of that. 2 guardsmen, 1, 2, just like so, and then the boss is coming with them.
Oh, Grash?
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, not the one with the super shiny ring, but
So, we've got a couple of bodyguards. There's the snarling and growling as they make their way around, and then the elf, and you can position yourselves, and this is reactive. I haven't rolled any surprise or anything else yet, but the boss will be trailing like a so. He actually pauses briefly to punch the bone snapper in the nose, and it shuts up.
so rude.
And then he yells, "Shut up!" as he punches it. It withdraws, and then the 2 unsuspecting guardsmen will be marshaling forward, and so you guys, since you have surprise, or theoretically will, I'm just going to roll versus your guys' situation. There's no reason to roll for a group surprise, because how would you benefit from her surprise roll, right? I could do individual surprise, but that's not necessarily fun. It's easier for me to just do as a group. So having said that, I'm going to be making a roll versus what your bonus would be +10.
Nice.
Okay. Based upon your guys' circumstances, I'm looking at a 23.
Dang.
That covers your guys', you guys have handled this beautifully, you deserve the benefits.
Good
So
job, Bryn.
here we go, and we'll see what the universe has to say. We'll go with the sentries first. One of the sentries dashes around like so. As he does so, he stops for a second, rolls a 20, did not confirm the critical, but he still actually made the roll. He stops in his tracks as he detects the faintest whiff of something in the air. He sniffs the air like so. He sees, clinging to the ceiling, nothing. He just sees the stalactites, but he sees the hem of your really elaborate robes.
Yeah.
He sees them just dangling, and he literally does this like that, and he motions the other goblin forward, and since you're clinging, you don't quite realize it. And the other goblin sees it, and the other goblin just... and the other goblin goes, oh! And he just turns around and he goes, and in goblin, ambush. The boss pushes both of his bodyguards forward reactively, and the boss readies his own kit. We go to initiatives.
Okay.
No surprise, unfortunately, my
I'm
friends.
sorry.
The natural 20 plus modifiers killed it.
Look, fashion is
It was
important.
a great idea.
It was a phenomenal
It's
idea.
still going to be great for me.
It's
I'm
still
up there.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
may not
exactly.
actually have seen you. Who knows?
Maybe
But he
they
saw
don't
you.
have bows.
So, having said that, go ahead and roll your guys' initiatives, please.
Yikes.
Yikes, that's a good roll, right? You're celebrating? Yay?
Yes, it's the best roll ever.
Best roll ever.
Is that where you wanted to be, by the way?
Yeah, I was going to be crouched down, ready to cast a spell.
Gotcha, no problem at all. Okay, gang, starting off with 12s, 11s, 10s, 9s.
9.
9, go for it.
All right, so since I heard the big boss coming up here, it's time to pull out the big guns. I am the first goblin. I'm going to use a Sacred Flame,
Okay,
so I need a Dexterity saving throw.
you got it. Could you give me, I assume, this one?
It's the first one that came through. That's
Okay, so that one there.
yeah, that's the one I was targeting.
You got a shot, no problem at
Yeah.
all. Cool. Make a quick check. Not with that roll. D8 damage.
That would be 2 points of radiant damage.
He yelps as it's kind of like the bolt hits him and then it kind of frays outwards. It wounds him but doesn't kill him.
Well, that's disappointing. So let's smack him with a giant book. So I'm going to cast spiritual weapon and hit him with a tome of the law.
Gotcha. No problem at all. Praesenarian. That's actually our All-Father God, who's also the God of knowledge. Most characters actually in this world are pantheists because, quite frankly, it's a good idea.
That would be a 24 to hit.
You got all your bases.
24 definitely hits.
This is
And
kind of the Odin
domain.
Zeus.
Yeah, exactly.
to some extent, yes.
Which-
Although our cleric actually, his primary deity is Agner, who's like a god of battle and like
Yeah.
kind of like Athena, kind of
yeah.
sort of.
Well, I know
More
that
sophisticated
it
than the
says
slaughter
likes
god.
order, and that's why I decided to use a tome.
I'm down.
Let me double check spiritual weapon really quick on damage.
I thought it was a D6 or a D8.
A D8 plus spellcaster, so a D8 plus 3.
Aha.
That one didn't. That is 6 points of force
The
damage.
book shatters his skeleton. You don't really get a full view of what happens, but you can see his shadow cast against the wall break like a broken marionette.
Beautiful.
I will move 2 spaces to the left, right there, and that will be my turn.
Okay, dokie, no problem.
That was me on a 9.
8, 7, 6, 5.
5. So you said that I would have to break through at the beginning of this
Actually, I
round.
like the idea of it just happening. Boom, crumble, and then
Okay.
now it's your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna move into the chamber, kind of checking and seeing if there's any goblins in there, but I'm not really thinking there are, so I'll be a little hasty.
A quick left and right, no indication of any goblins anywhere.
Okay, and I'm gonna move up towards the cell as close as possible and check to see if there's locks.
With your movement rate and basically keep an eye on things, that right there is where you go.
Okay.
This is a heavily reinforced door, probably taken from elsewhere in the tower.
Okay.
And they just appropriated it. The terrified folk clinging behind scraps of cloth, which are blankets, bedrolls, etc., look up at you absolutely terrified. All they see is the gloom, right? Because there's no light source unless you snatched one up. Your hammer.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, the hammer is glowing. So through that glow, right, they're just looking up. Their eyes not used to the light because the goblins wouldn't be hanging out here in the
You look
light.
like an angel.
So all of a sudden, you just come out of the and they just and all of a
Chariots
sudden
of fire plays.
there are like 6 groups of faces against the wall or against the cell, looking out at you. Not quite sure what they're looking at, but they're really happy that it's different.
It's a Valkyrie.
They're really happy it's different.
Okay, I'm gonna say, all right, step back from the door a little bit. I don't have a lot of good aim, so.
Next turn, you can handle that. No
Yep.
problem at all. Over
Okay.
here, just FYI, this actually descends down.
Okay.
deeper, and this also descends down.
Oh, they both go down.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
I don't draw dungeons like.
Yeah.
They're all over the place, man, especially
Yeah.
natural caverns. Okay, that was on your 5s.
Yes.
On 4,
Gross.
roars to life, sends him in. He just saw his companion battered. He comes charging in with a full-on charge like so. The bodyguards are very enthusiastic. They're going to be charging in as well,
Oh god.
but their full focus is upon you.
That's the whole point.
There you go. The leader is no fool. He comes in cautious, and he looks straight up, down, left, right, etc. You don't get to his position without knowing what's going on. You see the leader look straight at the elf, like so.
Oh, no.
Broken teeth, Ernest Borgnine jowls, and just goes, and he says, finally.
Oh god.
Like he's been looking for something to do for a while. Okay, having said that, my bad guys will be attacking. Natural 20,
Okay.
natural 20, which increases the degree of severity for the critical.
Okay.
Does not confirm that second one. So, looking basically at doom to doom to doom to. The universe is smiling upon you, my friend. That was only 5 points. That was with the critical.
Oh, nice.
That was with the critical.
Okay.
One of the bodyguards, on the other hand, as he races along, he actually doesn't lose his footing, but he almost did. He almost slid down the slope here. And the last remaining swung an attack and only rolled a defense 14.
That's a miss.
Nice. More like I hit your heavy armor.
Yep.
Bam! Because you actually wear plate mail.
Yeah, I put up my arm, since I don't have my buckler, I put my arm in kind of like a brace, so when it hits, it's more like hitting a wall.
Gotcha, no problem at all. Since the NPCs were not given a task in this current situation beyond putting the old man through, the old man is currently with you. But as far as Borman goes, Borman is along as well, but also just they're just basically on pure defense.
Defensive, yeah.
That's all they're doing. Okay, and that was on my action on.
That's why I put the
4s.
dice there if you want to move
No
them.
problem at
Okay.
all. We just make sure we actually
what they
use them.
Yeah.
But since they are humans, they actually do have a little bit more movement, and they'll be actually going to the gate, and they'll be interacting with the other prisoners.
Maybe like reassurance or something.
They're just there, right, and they're interacting with them.
Okay.
But when you told him to stay out of the way of the cell, he steps aside.
Cool.
I don't want to get between that door and that dwarf.
Smart.
Who would want to?
And that was on 4s. 3s, 3. The boss man at this point,
boss
the
man.
boss
It
man,
wasn't me.
the boss man at this point has a held action at this point. I'm going to do a quick checky here just to make sure that my shenanigans are appropriate. Absolutely. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, so. The leader, who, as I've described, is basically goblin-heighted orc. Barrel-chested or not, he's a highly motivated combatant. He will actually
get that.
race forward, having spotted the elf lurking in the ceiling. He's actually going to race forward, and with his flail, which does have a bit of reach, he's actually going to unfurl it at the maximum length. And he's actually it's a great flail. So it's got like a 7 or 8 foot reach. And he's actually going to, and he swings it up, trying to pancake the elf.
You should have taken that ceiling height raise when you
Now,
could have.
now the defense actually might work to your favor, but you are just a magician. So unfortunately, okay. Do you have a bonus action or anything else in terms of casting spell for defense?
I do have a reaction.
Oh,
Then I
okay.
think you probably should take your
I
reaction
will
for
cast
defense.
shield.
Okay, doke.
Seeing it coming as I was ready.
Oh yeah, the minute he unfurled that huge, you're talking about like a spiked ball that big on the length of an 8-foot chain,
Yeah.
attached to a stick this long.
Yeah.
Right.
The ball is probably what I would look like if I.
Yeah,
pulled
it's
it.
a
It's not
wrecking
gonna
ball
be
with
good.
spikes. Anyways, that will increase your defense tremendously by 4, as I recall.
Yeah, I think so.
By 4. It slams next to you, only rolling an attack of 14. Which I'm pretty sure will miss.
17, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he shatters a bunch of the stonework in the process, and so it rains stalactites all around you like so. But you No harm, no foul. Okay.
That was on 3?
That was on my 3. 2.
2.
Yep, 2 as well. You go first.
Seeing that hearing the words ambush kind of startled me, so that's why I'm going a little bit later, because I was scared for my teammates. So after deflecting the ball with my shield, I will cast Fog Cloud.
Okay.
And I will try to center. It's a six pace radius, so I'll try to center it below me, around where all of the goblinoids are.
Okay.
And kind of on the edge of my my cleric's vision, so it doesn't obscure kind of him. It's kind of like right in front of him. Like.
Okay. So if they are in the fog cloud, they still get cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just so they're kind of disoriented and confused with the
Doesn't
fog.
actually cause them any disorientation at all. It is not a compulsion spell. It is a wall spell. So what ends up happening is that it does not. So it can block line of sight for like ranged combat and things like that. But all we have to do on our action is literally take 1 step forward and attack him.
Okay.
So it's not going to do what you think it might do. And I don't want to rob you of that.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
Then I will just knock my arrow that like I had my bow ready, waiting for them to come
okay,
to the arrows,
okay.
and I'll shoot at the boss.
No problem.
Just because I'm angry and mad at him.
I don't think this is a terrible idea at all.
He did try to like flail you.
Oh, I did. I really desperately wanted to, but I made a bad attack roll.
A dirty 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20?
Yeah.
Good goodness.
Meaning
I've
not
never,
natural.
I've never heard that term, and I applaud you for it. Wow. Never heard that before.
That's a critical roll.
I was like,
roll.
that cost you extra downtown. But that definitely hits. The arrow streaks towards him, clobbers him, and causes D6 plus 2, or plus 3, I think, for you.
4.
4 points. Against that heavy armor, against this guy, it didn't do much, is what you notice. It disappeared in amongst the armor, but he didn't flinch from it. Didn't flinch
Still
at
looking
all.
up at me.
And he literally looks up and he goes, "Come down, birdie."
And then I'll start backing my way towards the collapsed tunnel along the roof.
Yeah, you are not actually. I believe what's the movement rate for spider climb?
It's the same as my movement speed.
Okay, gotcha. So you can basically.
Which I think
Where
is
do you want to
15
go?
paces.
15 paces.
Towards the middle of the room. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
You tell me where. Is that cool?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
And I'll whisper downwards to my cleric and
Whisper. You ain't whispering nothing.
yeah.
You're yelling it.
I'll say back up, like retreat.
Yeah.
No, I ain't moving whatsoever.
Oh my god.
I don't. That is
That
three.
goes right into the pool, right into it. No way.
All
Are you
right.
kidding me? First off, no, and secondly, that's
Okay.
opportunity tax.
All right.
But okay.
That's it for me.
Okay, nicely done. That was on your 2, I believe.
Yes.
Other
Two.
2s.
Hi, all right. So I'm gonna I hear all of this happening in this retreat. So I'm kind of gonna like pop up underneath where the wizard is. Like I'm just gonna
underneath
take a
me.
side
I
step.
see.
Yeah, just kind of push
So
over.
moving out of that tunnel
Yeah,
to the
taking
center
out
of
of
the
the tunnel
room.
to kind of get a view of what's going on.
As you snake out, you can see a line of death. A bunch of very angry, like I said, it looks like an angry termite mound. But, and this is just a fraction. So what do you do?
Well, I do have this nifty dagger that I had my wizard friend.
You do have a very nifty dagger with a monogram, no
Unbury
less.
out of somebody's
With a monogram. I think it's called Reed Cutter.
I was
Yeah.
going to say weed cutter, but yeah, reed cutter.
Yeah, close enough.
Man, you slaughter walruses,
Multi-useful.
reed cutter.
Yes,
Why do we even name things?
Yeah, no, it's all the same.
I bet it hits better if you call it reed cutter.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, so the dagger you're throwing it?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
throw it.
No problem. May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Snake in just a little bit
Okay.
to reduce the possibility of clobbering
I've
a
got
friend.
enough movement. speed.
Gotcha.
I can kinda-
Go ahead and give me your attack then as you fling the dagger. Although I will mention that you would probably be better off with your sling because you get a bonus to attack with slings and things.
Oh, that's right.
And I would hate to rob you of that.
Yeah, all right. So maybe.
Reed cutter's cool.
I'm looking
but
at it. It's really nice. I don't really want to throw this away.
That's true.
It's
Monogram.
monogrammed.
It's
yeah,
monogrammed.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I guess
sling is what you
instead
said.
we'll
You
yeah,
meant
like I said,
sling.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
It was a
And
misspeak, right?
no problem. And your attack roll was, my friend?
let's
Don't forget
see. So
that
the
plus
plus
1
two-
for the sling.
Right. Okay. So 12.
No.
Yeah, I don't think
The sling bullet actually turns into a quarter as it hits that heavy armor that all these guys are wearing.
Just a little dent.
It's like dink, and then it falls to the ground basically as a slug. Ooh, that's rough. You do have a square or 2 of movement left.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back around.
Okay, you dash backwards for a little cover. I'm with you. Not a bad idea. That was on your 2,
Oh, I got a
Oh,
5.
you had a 5.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Any other 2s, 1s? Top of the round, reroll initiatives, kids. Now it gets exciting.
Okay.
Anyone got the 12, 11?
To go that far, but it does.
10. I see a 10. 10 it is.
Okay. I'm using my 2 hands on my warhammer. I'm gonna try and slam it down on the reinforced door to see if I can get some damage enough to.
The door
get
doesn't
people
dodge,
out.
so hitting it, blam! This is also Goblin manufacture, right? The door comes right off the hinges, crashes to the ground, bunch of dust and filth kind of flies this way and that, and a bunch of very startled, I mean, literally, these are the worst looking people you've probably ever seen in your lives. Interestingly, they're not all humans. You will see a dwarf among them. You will see a halfling among them. And they all kind of stare. The halfling looks particularly miserable because they haven't been well fed. But
I feel for him.
Yeah, I do too, right?
I greet the dwarf and dwarvish and
They will literally come out and there's times to compare families and there's a time to fight. So all of a sudden they just kind of sort of funnel out to join you. The looks of them shows that they have 1 or 2 hit points apiece. They are referred to as fodder. If you drag them into a fight, missed attacks tend to kill characters like this.
So no one in there looks like.
No one looks like
Okay.
they would probably fight very hard, but not well.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Greyarb, the older man, the Frogacre. I'm gonna be like, hey, do you think you can get back down to the stable where we were at?
Back through the tunnel?
Yes.
Yeah.
He says, I think so.
Can you lead these people? They need you.
I think so.
Okay. We'll provide as much cover as possible. You try and get them away, okay?
Right.
Okay.
He turns to everyone and says, follow me. And they'll all kind of like pool.
As he shuffles.
And then they'll move. And then he'll stand beside the rock and they'll be funneling through. And they'll be gathered first at the entrance. That's at the end of this turn. And then they'll be heading their way out this way.
Okay, and then I turn to Borman and I'm like, are you ready to make some goblins pay?
He says, more.
Okay,
good.
so, and I guess both of us will head towards it, starting as our next
He
turn
will
goes.
actually set the sword aside, interestingly enough.
Okay.
And he picks up a cudgel lying on the ground.
Beautiful.
And it's a heavy, it's just leaning up against the wall. He just picks it up, swings it back and forth, and he just holds up that awesome buckler, that little something something from the priest of Agnir. In which case he will, and that'll be the end of the turn of what's going on in this part.
Perfect.
Okay, on your 10.
Okay.
9, 8,
9.
9.
Hearing all the voices of the prisoners, I know that, they succeeded in their mission, I guess.
And it was prefaced by a boom as the door came off the hinges.
I will do magic missile at the 3 non-boss in front of my cleric friend there.
I got you. However, you will not get a shot on him
Okay.
at all, but here's what you do if you
I'll
want to do that.
2 and 1.
Just do this.
Okay.
That will give you your shot.
Yeah, I'll move a little bit more. I see a stalagmite, and I kind of
Exactly.
I move it over.
Exactly. You need to move a little bit. And since you're shooting down, that'll give you your shot.
Okay.
Starting with the first one.
2,
Got it.
2.
Got it.
Oh, 5.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice. Heavy armor or not makes no difference. The force blow actually causes the armor to erupt, and you actually see pieces of it fly into the air as the goblin falls to the ground with a great cracked chest. He'll crumple like all the bones in his chest just broke.
Oh, ooh.
And that'll be it for me.
yeah.
It's a bit violent.
And that was on your action on 9, 8, 7, 6.
7.
7.
All right, so so what I'm going to be doing is two-handing since I don't have my buckler anymore, I'll two-hand my spiked mace.
Ooh.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move, which I put the triangle out there. That is my spiritual weapon. I'll move it the
The dice.
D4.
Okay.
I'll move it up to the goblin right in front of me.
The leader? Or the one who
Right in front of me.
right
Yeah,
there.
I got you.
And
I got
I'm
you.
gonna two-hand the spiked mace against one in front of me, and then also, if it's still alive, spiritual weapon that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Double whack from the front and the back.
Yeah. Me, that will be a 15 to hit.
That, unfortunately, will not hit heavily armored goblins.
All right, and then
That's one of our earliest misses, actually.
spiritual weapon, that will be a 20 to hit.
That actually will hit. You bet.
All right, so and that will be To the back of the head, that is 9 points of force damage.
The interior of the helmet takes the blow from that, was a book, right?
Yes.
So it
like a
literally, the book comes up and it actually claps and smacks like so. The helmet crushes inwards, and then the body just hits the ground, but the head is like this thin behind the plates that used to be the helmets.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, the less said about what's coming out of the holes of the helmet, the better.
It's
okay.
leaking,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's definitely
Like a
leaking. Definitely leaking.
And then just at the end of my turn, I'll be saying to myself in the agony, guide my strikes.
Very nice. Very, very
So
nice.
brave.
And this continues to float, and Agnier goes, you got it, buddy. You got it. Okay, that was on your
That is a 7.
7. 6, 5, 4, 4. Really? The boss man gets to go. Under the circumstances, the boss man goes, and the whistle goes through the cavern.
Don't like
And it
that.
echoes.
Nope.
And across the way, the audience will see the camera follow it through the canyon, or through the cavern, to the chamber where the boss leader just came from. Behind a curtain space, in the gloom, something starts up, looks, sniffs the air, realizes the master is not in the room, and then sprints only inches above the ground like a train
Nope.
across the ground.
Nope.
And as it sprints this way, it'll be around before it comes here, so that's what happens there. And in which case, I'm swinging this thing over my head like a madman, and I bring it to bear against the cleric. The boss man really loves his work. Only hitting a defense of 17.
No.
Okay. It slams into your shoe, literally, bam, and you feel yourself driven back an inch.
Shaking.
Yeah, it's like, wow, this guy's got a lot of punch for a goblin. And that was on my 4. 3, 2, really? Well, I guess I get my attack as well. Okay, on my 3. I'll be taking advantage of my ally attacking you, and I'm actually going to step into the attack just a smidge, and I let my attack go. That ain't going to do it, not even close. You nimbly parry the attack with no effort whatsoever. And that was on my 3, 2, 1.
One. I had some pretty bad luck.
Well, that just means you got the crap roll out of the way, and the next
Look,
round will
yeah,
be better.
I was very startled by
Think
what
about
I
this
saw.
way, you're not stuck with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the nice part.
What happens?
Okay, so I hear this commotion happening behind me in the tunnel, and I see these people coming at me. This large troop of very sad-looking.
Yeah, they would be
individuals.
gathered around, like
Yeah.
kind of that.
Okay, so I'm
and
gonna
there's like a
kinda-
bunch of dice. It's like,
I'm going to kind of sit myself between that tunnel and where they're exiting, since I've kind of overheard. They're going back to the stable. I want to kind of position myself as a defensive.
okay, so
in case they want to attack
positioned
people.
here-ish, or still here, or
A
what are we
little
talking
bit
about?
out, in between where you've pointed.
Yeah.
There
Yeah?
you go.
Okay.
So that way
Right
you go
there.
behind her.
Yep,
So-
yep. That way I'm just kind of pointing behind me, go for cover.
Absolutely. So you can kind of gesture them.
Yeah.
Okay, which that's a free action. I'm not going to charge you anything for
Oh,
that
thank you.
because they're not even moving through that space yet, anyways,
Yeah,
right?
they will be.
So
Just prepare.
exactly, but more importantly, one of the things your great uncle Abner taught you is if when you get a shot, you take
taking it.
So you have your attack against the leader right there.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
your
going to
sling.
go ahead and try and sling him.
Your lucky sling bullet.
Yeah.
Mwah.
I kiss it, and I'm like, yes, you've got this.
Ding.
Hey, okay, so the +2 for the sling makes it a 19.
That will, let's see here. Lucky for you, I'm not using my steel-rimmed shield.
Heyo.
Because I'm using a two-handed weapon, because if so, it would have been pink, no effect.
Darn.
On the other hand, bullet finds its mark and dents armor.
Beautiful.
Well, also, because I'm right there, is there a sneak attack as well?
When you are within 10 paces, it definitely counts as a sneak attack.
Hey.
There you go.
Okay, not bad. So 4.
Well, it does hit heavy enough so the helmet actually rotates around on his shoulders, and then he pushes it back into position like so. But it definitely did some damage. Very nicely
It
done.
was irritating at best.
Well, I am kind of sort of I am the leader of this gang, right? So
Lot of fun.
I got more than one hit die. Okay, anyways, but it definitely caused some injury and more than a little irritation. Okay, that was on your 1. Top of the round, roll initiatives, kids.
Is this a Grash gang? Is this what I saw as Grash gang? when we were
As
scouting.
you look through the gloom from your position way up high, you look for a telltale piece of something. And it confirms what you thought, but then it denies what you thought. He is indeed wearing a ring around his neck, but it doesn't look like it's covered in filigree. It's, if anything, it's just a heavy silver ring.
Got it.
But it is not a heavy it's not a filigree covered platinum band.
Got it. Okay.
So that confirms it's someplace else. And right on cue, as everyone's funneling past and all those people gathered around, one lurks behind, a very sickly Ichabod Crane half-elf with silver gray hair and violet eyes. As he stops, he meets your gaze, and he's just struggling to get the strength to say thank you, and he'll simply produce a platinum band covered in filigree.
I do.
And all he'll say is, because he retained it against the goblins finding it, all he'll say is, ow. Did my family send you?
Oh.
I'll fold his hand back around the ring and be like, get out of here, buddy.
Even in the midst of all this, he's still thinking about satisfying his obligation to save
What
his
a noble
family.
boy.
You're like, he is the best of the Cardags. So it's important
is
that
a
he lives.
himbo.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the whole family goes into the toilet, or it goes
wow.
deeper into the toilet. Okay, that was the end of the round. We rolled those bones, starting off with 12, 11.
11.
Oh.
All
With
right.
the fervor of
Yeah,
battle.
I'm kind of pissed at hitting that. So I'm gonna. You hit me with a ball, I give you a nasty fingers. So I'm gonna try to use inflict wounds on the boss.
Ooh la la.
That will be a 23 to hit,
That will absolutely hit.
Dang.
and that is like last time. That is 3d10 points of necrotic damage.
roll.
Yeah, right. All tens.
No, but I will use this to maximize the damage for 30 points of necrotic damage.
Very, very cool. Not a problem at all. We'll just toss that boy right to there. So here's the thing. When you have multiple dice to roll, it's maximize the damage die.
Of one.
Oh,
Not the damage dice.
okay.
But here's what we can do instead. You can also just turn the dice into average. So average is 5 points each. So if you look at the dice and go 5 points each is better, or you can go one becomes a 10 and the other two are better.
I'm going to make it because I had a 9, a 4, and a 1. I'll make that 1 into a 10, so that is 23 points of necrotic
And you
damage.
maximize the damage. Isn't that juicy? It keeps people from rolling like 10d6 and like
Yeah.
just annihilating everything.
Yeah.
If only.
Mechanically speaking, that's probably not desired.
It'd be a nightmare, yeah.
Because when you're on the receiving end of it, not nice.
No, yeah, but yeah, I'll make that a 23 points of necrotic
23 points of damage, blam! The armor instantly rusts. Because this is necrotic damage. It rots and decays and eats everything. So you hit him with that holy, or almost unholy damage, really. And you see him just kind of crumple. He looks on at you. He just screams. He takes one step forward, lifts up that great weapon on his action. And as he lifts it up off the ground, you can actually see his arms separate inside of the rotten, rusty armor. And as he takes another step towards you, he's literally being pulled apart by his own strength. He hits the ground, and there's just a rusty skeleton inside of the decaying armor.
Dope.
I will look to the other goblin and says,
The bodyguard.
the bodyguard. I'll look
pleb.
at the bodyguard and say in common, don't know if it's understanding, and saying that there should be honor amongst the battlefield, and I'll throw the book at him.
Okay. And zoop,
That is a 18 to hit,
that will hit.
and that will be 8 points of force damage.
Nice. He'll actually take the hit, since it's that book. It actually hits him hard enough so that he actually falls forward. He manages to rise just enough and then collapses back on the ground.
And then I will position myself where it is holding my ground, ready, whatever is coming this way.
Yeah, we're not done yet, I don't
Yeah.
think.
No, you're not done yet.
No.
Yeah.
And that was on your initiative of
11.
11, 10.
10.
Ooh.
Also 10.
John's back. John is the king of initiative. I want to be very clear about this.
Quick little elf.
Absolutely.
So I reach into my pouch and I pull out a bit of fleece and I start rubbing it against my hand like this, and then I create a silent image of the boss.
Ooh.
And I
Okay.
will make it. I will use my action to run down the hallway in the opposite direction.
And you can only make it run until you can no longer see it.
Okay.
So when it rounds the corner, that it ceases to be controllable by you.
Okay.
Because it's not a programmed illusion.
Got it.
Gotcha.
So I'll go to where I can barely see it, and I'll tell it to just stand there and kind of like
Look menacing.
tell it to kind of make a stopping motion, like stop. Like,
Gotcha.
Like here or something.
Here, good for you? Or
Yeah.
farther along? Your call. You just let me know.
A little bit further, like around right towards the bend.
Right about there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. The bend cuts upwards and then slices sideways. And it opens up into a significantly much larger chamber. Based upon your vantage point, you really can't make out much, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it definitely widens, but that's about the limit of it.
Okay.
I will mention that there is a crate can be seen.
Okay.
But
So-
other than that,
All right. So can I see that like where that opens up?
yeah, you can absolutely.
Okay. That's where I will send
can
the image.
absolutely, you can see.
Okay.
You can see up to this point.
Okay. So I'll send the image there to
Okay.
the entrance to that tunnel.
And gesturing like
yeah, like
stop.
this, like
Gotcha, like a
stop.
halt.
Yeah.
Gotcha, no problem at all.
And it looks like the boss.
Absolutely.
Or he's
Absolutely.
kind of like, or something.
But you said you wanted to build like a halt.
Yeah, telling him to make like a stopping motion.
Gotcha, no problem at all.
Down.
And we'll see how that all turns out because that was on 10, 9, 8,
I also had a 10.
10.
sorry.
Oh no, you're so I'm just gonna continue moving with the captives. And
Yeah, you have no idea what happened, huh?
no, yeah, I'm
Heard
just
some-
kind of
heard
like,
some ruckus.
let's
So
get out of here.
on your turn, since they're acting more or less at the same time you are, they're going to funnel upwards, round the corner, and just for easy math, they race down the way. And since they have two people to guide them, they easily make it to the docks, ease into the water, and begin the slow kind of methodical. It'll take them multiple rounds to get out of here. But from my standpoint, you guys have succeeded. They're no longer in harm's way. Here's the return of your
Yay.
dice. And more importantly, as you follow up, that is where you is. But guess who's in your company?
Oh,
Missy.
Carmack's going where he would have actually reached down, picked up that sword that was
That was dropped
left,
by,
and he
yeah.
actually gives a couple sweeps with it like so, because elves get +1 to hit with long swords.
it's like it was made for
It's
him.
almost like it was made for him. Almost.
Almost.
Okay,
It's
well,
not
I'm gonna
monotone.
push him behind me and
You're
be like,
like, Easy there, stud. He will do so, and I will take up a defensive position for you. Okay, and then what is your actual action for the turn?
I guess I'll ready just
Okay.
in case something comes down that tunnel. 'Cause it
Okay,
seems like
a ranged weapon. Do you like ready a longsword?
I have
Or
my
longbow?
short bow.
Short
I'll
bow.
get my
There we
short
go.
bow.
That's what I would
ready for
recommend.
us.
Switch
Very
weapons
short
real
bow.
quick.
Very
So, it's
Literal
long
short
enough.
It's my height.
Okay, so and if something comes within view, you let it have it with a bow.
Yes.
Now, all that is basically is a ready action, no problem at all. It'll literally interrupt the other person when they come into view.
Okay.
That was on your 10, 9, 8,
8. Gotcha.
8.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm coming into view on 8.
Oh,
So a quick test on my part first. Just want to get this out of the way. Okay, and you're 8.
Okay, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to ready my
Cool.
sling for when something
So,
comes through.
on my action, the elf, sees what happens, and the elf, a little tiny terror sinks into your heart.
Uh-oh.
A 9-foot-long, snarling, furry train will have ripped across the room, throws itself through the master, its nostrils scenting, there's nothing there, and then your image pops like a balloon. And then it then proceeds to race down the passageway with the speed that would make an elf blush. It is absolutely terrifying. It is death on foot. It is an almost 11-foot long weasel when you factor in the length of its tail. And take note, it is painted. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I want to be clear. This thing is not cute.
Okay, sure.
Now, the model is adorable. I want to say that. But my monster is not adorable, adorbs, or delightful. Okay? But it is clearly kept lean and angry. It's very bony and
Very
thin.
long.
And it is.
good
It's a slinky of death.
A slinky.
A slinky of death.
How much does it resemble Tours, our guide?
But it's very gaunt and angular, and it's got a mouthful of just absolutely serrated teeth. It's you have to imagine, like in terms of like the croc hunter. It's when its mouth opens, its jaws are like this long. And have you ever seen the inside
You'll
of their mouth?
fit in
It's just
there.
Yeah,
it's just daggers.
I'm
right?
like, I'm having PTSD.
Oh,
Like,
it's much worse than the frog. So much worse than the
So
frog.
I'm on the
worse.
ceiling still, I believe, correct?
Huh?
I'm on the ceiling.
You
still.
are,
Yes,
and I'm not
yes.
even going to care. I'm going to basically I'm going to zip right past. I'm going to literally go, zzz. And as I said, you have to remember how paces work. If I move faster than Elf, right?
Pretty quick.
So, and then there it is. It's just dashing forward, and then its jaws gape wide as it comes up, and I come up one little tiny square short. One tiny little square short. Anyways, and that was on my action on 8.
8, yeah.
7s, 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s.
Weren't they holding their
I'm just waiting
Yeah,
for them to
we're
interrupt
ready.
me.
I was
I'm
gonna
literally waiting for them to interrupt me. But
should we
Oh,
go?
yeah, yeah.
Do
Yeah.
we even have shot, though, with you in the way?
No? Okay.
No, he's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, you're not.
nope. So what you could theoretically do is that you can continue to hold your actions till next turn, or you can just abort to defend this turn in case something happens. We're going to be going to initiatives here in a moment.
I'll go ahead and, switch
Yeah.
to defend, because we still have the...
Because that way you guys will still have
I've-
your ranged attacks next turn if you roll decent enough
I
initiative.
have my dumb
Okay.
elf who didn't want to go
Because the
behind
creature,
me.
you just don't have shots. You cannot shoot through your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot live in a world where that's possible. I just can't do it. Okay, so having said that, we'll see how things go next turn. Everyone goes to initiatives. Go for it.
Oh.
Oof, cruddy. Bad round for the Joseph.
Good.
Hey, hey!
I don't have a shield. So
No
this
one ever
works
has
for
the
me.
Game Master's back. Good. Anyone got the 12, 11, 10, 9?
9.
9!
All right,
Whoa.
so I'm going to move to the side of it.
Okay.
Like a matador.
Like you step into it?
Yeah, step into it
Okay.
a little bit further because I want to give them.
And then how about this? You have your shots.
Hey, yeah, see, I
At
didn't
that very
roll.
moment, since you haven't taken actions, you are literally interrupting. Just
Yep.
you have your actions.
Okay, I'll
I've got
take
it. I'm doing it. I got a sling. You've got a short bow, yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
Well, we can go ahead and go.
Yep.
That good, huh? Okay, what we got?
22.
That will definitely hit as an arrow disappears into its fur.
Yay.
7.
Unfortunately, a 7 ain't gonna do it. Ain't
Clinks
gonna
off
do
the
it.
Wall.
Ain't gonna do it. But you know what? You have a Joss point right here.
I don't know.
It's up to you. But
I mean,
it's the boss.
I don't want to
It's
get
the
eaten by
boss's.
a weasel.
It's the boss's
Come on.
I
pet.
don't either. I guess we might as well.
It's the boss's
If everybody's okay with it.
I'm fine.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I hope I don't waste it.
I literally immediately wasted it. It's another 7.
The bullet unfortunately comes up. You literally rush it, and it actually skips across the floor.
I was nervous.
You
It's
were
a really
nervous.
Big
Yeah,
weasel.
you were nervous. It is a big weasel.
I've
Okay.
been eaten before.
And how much damage?
5 piercing.
5 points of damage. Got it. The beast takes the hit, but hunger drives it.
I'm going to try to smack it with my spiked mace again.
Cool. And I believe it's two-handed, correct?
Yes, it is.
Nice. We have many types of maces.
That is a 23 to hit.
That will hit. And don't forget your spiritual weapon, which is still lurking.
Yep. And you know what? I'm just going to roll that to see if I roll at the same time. And ooh, that's 16.
Against the giant weasel?
Yeah.
That will actually hit.
Woo!
Hey!
All right.
Because
So
you, guess what? Flanky.
yeah.
+2 to hit.
Flanking with himself?
Well, it's actually a weapon. It does restrict its movement a little bit because I mean it would have to focus to dodge it a little bit. So it makes sense that it would offer up a
All
flanking
right. So
opportunity.
since I have it,
The bright glowy book.
what's it called? Since I haven't hit with the mace until now, do I add my strength to the damage, or
Yeah,
okay.
well, but it should already be factored into the weapon list. Just make sure. 'Cause I
it
think
just-
it
it
should
just says-
basically be D10 plus your strength bonus.
A D10. Okay.
It should be a D10 plus your strength
Oh,
bonus.
it says 1d12 on there.
Does it say-
for two-handed? For
Yeah,
two-handed.
two.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, it's 1d10. I was looking at initiative. So,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
okay,
I was like,
no problem at all.
Trying to
So-
steal a D12 off from underneath me. I see what you're
I'm
up
so
to.
sorry. I was looking at the wrong column.
No, great.
Please
Only,
forgive us,
only
the
great
Game
weapons.
Master.
Only great weapons, which are all two-handed, use a D12 damage.
Got it.
All right, so in turn, it's going to be my roll plus 5 for damage. So that will be a 14 total.
Nice.
Very
It
nice.
clobbers it, but the beast continues to fight. It actually jacks this way as it takes the hit and shakes off the worst of it.
Okay. And yeah, that will. In fact, just in case, I'll move a little bit forward to
No
the
problem,
side of
you
it,
got it,
and
right
there
there.
we go. That's where
Okay,
that's
dokie.
where I'll stop.
No problem at all. As long as you're moving within its threatened space while staying engaged, you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you try to disengage and run away,
Yeah.
you have to burn your action to disengage to avoid the attack of opportunity. But moving is fine.
Yeah. Okay. And that was me on a 9.
8.
8.
Ooh. Okay, go for it.
So I still have my short bow. I'm gonna try hitting it again.
Okay, go for it.
Just using that. So. 16 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay. And that's 7.
Ooh, an arrow buries itself in the creature's chest. Its left arm goes out from underneath it as it struggles to keep its balance. The creature's below half hit points at this
Nice.
point. Nicely done. That was on your action. Oh, you still
Yeah,
have some movement.
Yeah, can I go ahead and start like putting my bow back up? to
Here's
get
what I
my
would
great
suggest
hammer
you
out?
do. Putting a weapon away, it usually takes an action because
Okay.
putting it away, you have to put away the quiver, things like that. But what you can do is this: just drop it.
Okay.
You literally can just drop it, and then as your movement, just ready your shield and weapon.
Okay,
for next
sounds
turn.
good. Yep.
Cool, done. That was on.
8.
8.
I've also got an 8.
Oh,
I'm totally fine with
okay.
what you
Now
did.
was this your lucky bolt? Mwah.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
got it. Give me your
Yeah.
attack.
All right, hopefully. This
Attack with a sling.
please. No.
Wow. Wow. Well, here's the deal, though. Every session, there's an opportunity for me to give you the Poor Baby Award. So here's the Poor Baby Award. It can't be used this turn, at least on this action, but I
That's
can give it
fine.
to you, and mwah, here you go, my friend.
Aw,
Yeah,
thanks.
Poor Baby Award.
Sympathy.
But because sometimes you got to just embrace it. Okay, that was on your 8 as well. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
2.
Oh, okay.
Being distraught that my illusion is
Because
gone.
it barreled right past you. It was like watching a train go by.
Yeah, so I'm kind of disheartened. So I'll move back towards our companions back up the tunnel to where I can see the gigantic weasel, and I shall take another shot with my bow.
Okay, where would you have
Yeah.
there-ish?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just kind
Give
of
me-
peeking around the corner.
Give me a roll.
That. Oh, it was a 10.
Oh, in case
That
you
was
guys
a
are
10.
curious,
15.
there's a little detail I'm sure that the fans have already noticed and no one's mentioned. What happened to the bone snapper? Well, actually, if you notice, it looks as though when they came through, the chain has actually been severed.
That was about to ask.
And they took it with them to deal with whatever caused the fire.
Nice. That's good.
So there's the floor here is covered in bones. And there's
This
a
could
big,
be worse.
oh, it could have been so much
Could've been
worse.
way worse.
But your guys' ruse worked magnificently.
15 to hit.
Against the giant weasel? Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Missed by this much. Okay, that was on your action on 2. On 1, I get to attack.
Nice.
I get to attack.
Yay.
Yay! I'm a super fast monster that rolls a d12 for initiative, but I only rolled a 1.
Yeah.
Been there.
Been there. But this creature, since it just basically joined you, you clobbered it and it's been hit from multiple directions. The creature quickly recovers. It puts a little weight on that left leg and then savagely it pulls itself in like an accordion and then rockets towards you, claws and fangs.
Great.
At the cleric.
Against the cleric,
Okay.
yes, against the cleric. Hitting a defense of 20.
That hits.
Okay. And give me a strength check.
Oh.
You may consider yourself proficient for this.
Okay, so proficient, that will be a 10.
Okay. The worst about this is that when those jaws connect, it's almost like there's a ratchet in place.
I really hope not.
A total of 11 points of damage this turn. It then slams into you, bears you to the ground, and it savagely not just turns its head left and right, it actually twists its body like a corkscrew
Oh man.
in different directions. The entire time, it shreds flesh, rips bone, and causes automatic bite damage every turn until it's convinced to let go.
Okay, so we're gonna like.
And I have killed
just
players
rush
post-mortem.
Like,
I have killed players post-mortem. Until you make the strength check, the jaws stay latched on, bleeding you to death. Okay. So you have to get to him, or you have to free yourself before that happens. That was on 1. Top of the round, baby. Roll those initiatives.
I thought. Oh, whew, close. Okay.
Really? Really, universe?
yes.
Really? Really? Starting off with 12, 11, 10.
10.
Wow,
Yeah,
you can miss fast.
I recovered. Okay.
She's just constantly reloading and
Yeah, was it?
Hey man, when you're a halfling, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, no, I'm tossing the sling to the ground, right? Like,
Ooh,
it's
disgusting.
not working. It's not working for me.
No, I don't
So
think it
I'm
is
gonna
either.
take my short sword and I'm going for that guy. He just grabbed my friend the cleric.
1,
with his
2,
whole
3,
jaw.
4, 5, 6. Oh, so close. And I assume you dashed and charged.
Yes.
Give me a roll.
Yeah. Okay.
Attack with your short sword. And of course, it's a sneak attack.
I can just imagine like
My friend.
that's just what I picture.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
We're off to a good start.
19.
That will definitely hit, especially with the flanking bonus. Total damage is 1d6 plus dexterity bonus.
Well.
That's a d8, isn't it? There we go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we don't want to roll.
For
Oh wait, no.
sneak attack?
Are you wielding your short sword two-handed?
Yeah.
Oh, then it's definitely a d8 and a d6. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
100%.
Yep, d8 and a d6.
Oh, right.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, that's a 2.
That's
Oh.
You've got a poor baby award. You can
do
spend
have a
it.
poor baby
award.
So 7? No, wait, 9.
You can do 9, yeah.
Yes, I think
9.
so. Right.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that would be a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 points. Wounded as the creature is, you thrust the blade up inside of its chest, piercing heart and lungs. It makes one, and then it collapses against the side of the cleric. Quite dead, but I will point out, the pelt looks magnificent. 900 gold pieces in this part of the world. Ooh, look at that.
And
How
the
convenient.
jaw.
Otter's mark.
The jaw's like,
Well,
right.
the jaw is still on him. I just don't want to leave it on the table because think I have to keep making attacks
gotcha,
with
gotcha.
it. But and when my turn comes up, I'll be rolling for that. Oh, absolutely. We're not done with this yet. Okay, so we could theoretically drop out of combat, but it's actually easier for us to be just like, okay, we go into narrative time. So having said that, it's still on top of you. You actually are, and you should actually be prone, just FYI.
I would
I
ask
did
you-
knock you down. And so the nearest character could theoretically try to help extract, although you can do it as well.
Yes, I would like some help because I would be wanting to heal myself because I'm in single digits now.
Ooh, I could actually kill you with that attack roll.
Yeah.
Just in
Okay.
case you guys are curious, in my games, you get 1 death save, not 3. You get 1. You get the 1 roll, and that's it. But if you make it at the end of the encounter, you pop back up with 1 hit point.
I'm if someone could
I was going to come and try and break the jaw
yeah,
with my
if you
warhammer.
could, because then I will heal myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Carmag joins you, and you can do the assist.
All right. So I'll have them have it open because I'm hurting. I'm going to heal myself 9 hit points.
Oh,
With cure
Sure.
wounds.
I
still have to get out,
I would,
right?
I would
Yeah,
not
you-
let you actually cast a spell when something pounced on you and it has you basically grappled.
So I can't
You're gonna
touch
have to
myself
take
and
a-
heal.
You generally don't get to get to cast spells while grappled.
Can't concentrate.
But we can try and get you
Never
out.
mind.
from
I
that,
will.
yeah.
I will then. Okay, that's it. That is a 24 to.
Plus 2 for the assist.
26.
26. So she chums up, blam, jaw shatters. You grab a hold of it and just,
Okay.
and horrifically wounded. I mean, your armor is just doused.
Oh.
Horrific. Yeah.
I'll take my cape and try and wipe you down.
I'll heal myself that 9 hit points.
Now, since we
Yes.
dropped that one round in combat, you absolutely can. Absolutely. You would imagine that the angry anthill is upstairs dealing with the situation, dealing with the madness that is up there. A quick look at our time. We have 13 minutes left, so we still have a fair amount to do, theoretically, if you guys want to do a little exploration. And there might be a couple goblins still lurking, keeping an eye on things in the meantime.
Right.
So you guys get to do some exploration if you guys like.
Yeah, let's try to find some of those goods to bring back with us.
I was
for
gonna say, the
town.
chieftain's room might have some.
Ooh,
Yeah.
chieftain's room. Ooh la la.
Grash Gang's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably has some shinies in there.
One
Maybe
would
some
imagine a
diamonds.
fellow like Grash Gang. Now, there's one thing that you guys also know about is that there is Grash Gang has a pouch mate, a brother, Feleg, right? Who would have theoretically led the attack up topside. So once they realize what's going on, they're going to probably come back eventually, right?
Yeah.
So you guys know that there's a borrowed time element.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So if you guys were to go back toward, head in this direction, walk past the Bone Snapper's chamber and into a larger chamber. I don't want to spend a lot of time drawing it because, quite frankly, we don't have a lot of time.
No, yeah.
But imagine, if you will,
describe
that there's a ledged area that you guys are going to walk out on to here. This will turn into like a ledge, and it opens up into a larger chamber that's about this big. Okay.
And that's the Bone Snapper's room, right?
No, the Bone Snappers actually would have been right here. They took it with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When we arrived, pank, and they sent it up forward. They were like, go get him, boy, kind of a deal.
What a good boy.
Yeah, what a good boy. Because there's actually usually a handler there. Against the back wall, there's actually going to be another one of those cells.
Oh.
Oh.
But there aren't people inside of it. It looks like a treasury.
Nice.
There's boxes and crates and barrels and all kinds of goodies piled up and high behind a very sturdy but very familiar looking door. Against the left-hand wall, there's going to be two curtained areas, one of which is parted and the floor is covered in bones. Not all of
lovely.
which are animal. That's clearly where the big old scary weasel came from. The other one is also parted, and you can see a sleeping pallet, a small table, and also what looks to be like a treasure chest just sitting to the side next to the sleeping pallet. But what you really see that's interesting is that the door to the treasury is wide open.
Oh.
Oh.
You hear a sound of something ripping open and a gravelly voice. Where is it? Where is it?
Does it have like a distinctly rat-sounding
There is a
quality?
rodent-like
Yeah, okay.
quality, a rodent-like timbre to the voice.
Okay.
And inside, and out walks Hemab Turs, who actually has a crown on his head. He has a laurel of jewels. He has a bunch of goods all piled up, and he's got two treasure chests on top of him. And he's just like, finally, the day of Hemab Turs comes, and he sees you guys standing there. And he goes,
Hey, buddy.
Well.
long rodent-like, and goes, oh no.
Yeah.
My dear friends, I'm so happy to see you. I managed to chase off the goblins, and they left this for us.
You did great. We're going to go back to our captives in the stable. Do you want to come with us? And we'll all just go back to Ottersmark together.
Yeah.
He says, really?
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed. I had no idea.
You scared off the goblins. Like,
I did.
That was
Yeah.
very
It was
brave
fearful.
of you.
There were dozens of them.
Yeah.
And of course,
We got a couple of them
by
back there.
by doing that. We had to bring all this back to everyone. We had to give it back to everyone.
Yeah, this is all their stuff.
All the stuff has to be returned, of course.
You're so heroic.
It is.
Volunteering to give for charity.
I did?
Yes.
At the Green
When did I
Griffin,
do
they
this?
will sing your
I did?
praises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give it all back.
Yes, give it all back. All
He
of
looks
it.
behind him like,
Yeah, all of it.
All of it. I mean, all of it was
Yeah, our
taken from the
bards will
city.
carry it all.
And we'll return to its rightful owners. But there may be some left over.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, maybe the Ottersmark will give us.
but it was supposed to be the day of Hemab Turs.
It is.
It
the bards will
is.
sing your praises.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll be
You'll
living.
be praised as a hero.
So the next scene, I presume,
They'll sing
is,
about Hemab Turs.
is-
I mean Turs.
is gathering up what you can grab. We can assume that you guys are not so much interested in bolts of cloth and things like that, right? Because, I mean, it's valuable, but it's not like, ooh.
Yeah.
The leader's chambers could also have been grabbed very easily. So Turs is basically treated as a donkey as you guys take the goodies and get on out of here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because time's a wasting. And they won't be and that fire will go out eventually on that barge, right? You guys are out the secret door you go. Might I make a suggestion? If they are waiting for you at the stable and they see you, you guys gesture for them to run
Yeah.
to the
toward the
docks and
island,
then back to, and then out of here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the next scene is that as the goblins catch wind of what's going on, sort of, you guys are running down the docks, leaving this place, getting the hell out of here as fast as possible. The dwarf, on the other hand, there's a moment, and you get that feeling. Angrim Silverhelm is the god of the dwarves, right? And there are many gods of the dwarves. And one of the gods of the dwarves is Borbrag Doomforger. And Borbrag, his job is to take souls, turn them into molten material, and then shore up the fracturing elements of the universe. Like the universe is collapsing, and he's there to put it back into shape. And it's a losing
guy.
proposition.
That's kind of cool.
He's also the god of destruction to some extent. He's the lawful evil god of the dead.
Does he inspire me to maybe
What are
cave
the-
some stuff in?
The
on
goblins have a tower.
here? Yeah.
Do the goblins deserve a tower?
No.
So so what you don't see is the rest of you guys are running down the way is you don't see the dwarf anywhere. And then
I thought
all of
they
a
were
sudden
behind me,
you guys
like-
see the dwarf appear at the opening to the secret passageway. Meanwhile, the tower just
Collapses. Yeah, just.
Hey, it's Super Mario all over again.
and the entire structure begins to shudder, and it leans first to the left, and then it leans to the right. The goblins, seeing the tower collapsing, race back towards, again, an army of angry ants are running towards it, and the scaffolding erupts as the structure begins to twist, and the entire thing is just leveled. The tower just leveled.
As is the fate of all towers.
As, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All towers must collapse.
Right.
As the dwarf, you stagger back out, and you guys can easily rejoin your companions. Theoretically, the goblins will catch sight and loose a couple arrows across the lagoon, but the distance is enormous. But they have bigger fish to fry. Thelig musters a couple of the other goblins, and you can assume that they will harry you and pursue you as best they can. However, an hour or so after you guys flee the scene from this place, you guys are going to come across a group of Ottersmark Knights.
Nice. Yeah.
They are waiting
Back
at
up.
Baltravik's corpse. And there is Odan, the horse, right?
Yay.
And Baltravik and the other, you can actually almost sense like he's looking down upon the scene with benevolence as the Ottersmark Knights, all of these soldiers and warriors, these slightly higher level adventurers than you guys, but magnificently will actually plow into the goblins, running them down as they assault them before they corner you guys. The audience sees the leader of the Ottersmark Knights. He will actually take those blades in hand like so, and he will actually walk towards you guys, and they'll take the barding, they'll take his remains, they'll take a number of the other goods and whatnot, but they will actually lay the sword, the short sword, and the dagger basically before your guys' feet.
Aww.
And they tell you, with a wisp like so, as he has a big wax mustache,
Nice.
seek us out at the Green Griffin if you've got the metal.
Yeah, all right.
You guys just got offered an opportunity to join the Ottersmark Knights.
Heck yeah.
So you got to prove yourself by partying first, and then the adventure.
Okay.
Okay,
I can
so
drink.
there was actually, because if we were playing a campaign, I would heap all kinds of goodies upon you, because there's plenty in this adventure to be had. But there's always the possibility for a follow-up adventure. Thelig did live, and so did the Spookbinder, the tribal shaman, who fled the scene when things were getting hot.
Of course he did.
And there is an opportunity. Almost all my adventures are written from the standpoint of what is a further adventure. There's another little event, so I have an aching suspicion that this isn't the last you've seen of the Bloodbite Goblins. You guys would almost certainly have gained a level from all that you have done, and more to the point, you guys have deserved this. Each one of you gets these fine tokens to keep. You each get one Joss point to remember me by, and I thank you guys very much. Wonderful players, great opportunities. For those of you who have joined us, thank you very much on this wonderful adventure. I cannot thank you enough for being here with us. It is performance art, but the real actors, the real stars of the show are my friends here off to the side. We can give them a quick round of applause like so. They certainly have deserved it. And again, I want to mention that we do have, you cannot play the game just yet, but soon, please be patient. It's happening very soon, especially at ReaperCon, but we're going to try to sneak something out to you beforehand. But you can't play the game, but you can wear the merch. We do have at least one t-shirt. I did hear maybe there's a second t-shirt as well that can be acquired with with a certain beautiful Izzy logo, as I recall. And we encourage you to do so. I certainly will be wearing one at ReaperCon. With the remaining few moments we have, if we have any questions or comments or whatever, I will happily take them.
Oh yeah, Justin has them, I think.
Yes. So ask your questions now. We haven't had much questions in terms of during the game today.
Okay.
Lots of commenting. People enjoyed your DM style. So
Well, that's always good to hear.
round of applause for Joseph.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You guys make it so easy, except for the sweat. That just happens naturally because I'm a big guy.
I'm going to pull up a particular question here. Hold on a second.
I'm assuming I have a question about the character sheet stuff. So
Okay.
damage, I'm assuming B means blunt, S and P means slashing
Absolutely.
and piercing. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you see a slash, that means whichever is most advantageous for you, like the
Cool.
weapon. So if you think
If
about
you
a
poked or used.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if you have like a flanged mace, and one of the things I haven't really done much with yet is that swords, any blade should theoretically be able to do a slash or puncture. But here's the thing: is if you use like a scimitar to puncture, it should cause 1 step damage less. So if it causes D6 normally, it would be a D4. Exactly. But it's better than having to deal with a creature's damage reduction or half damage from using the wrong mix of weapon.
Actually, with that right there, that's a question. Could you actually do like non-lethal damage but bludgeoning with like a sword?
Hell yes.
Oh, like a
but
flat.
because it's being used inappropriately, it causes 1 die less.
Okay.
So it would be like a D6 club, but you also usually take a penalty because the weapon wasn't intended to be used that way. But you absolutely could. You can also, if you have a superior position, pommel somebody.
Okay.
Yep, and that's just brawl damage.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Someone did ask here if Dungeon Dwellers is its own game and not
Okay.
yes to both, right?
It is actually, which sounds like a contradiction, but bear with me. This was born out of D&D. I cut my teeth on Moldvay D&D when I was but a wee tyke about 3,000 years ago. I am old. But you know what? It's not modern D&D. It's postmodern D&D. It's evolved out of D&D, and like I said, the same way Pokemon evolved, but heavily inspired by. It uses the same game system more or less, but there's just less of it. There's not going to be 1,000 classes or races yet. Just give me time. I'm busy. But we just want to give you juicy choices of a small number initially, and then we'll add more to it. But you know what? If you know any edition of D&D, you know 85% of this.
All right. I have a raid lined up for us here. Don't forget, tomorrow we have the stream for the party, which is at noon to 5.
Woohoo.
So come close the rest of the Kickstarter with us.
And if you're coming to the party, you might be able to get a little taste of this.
Yes.
Rumor has it I'm going to be running about 4 hours of open games for 4 to 6 players at a time, and it won't be this.
Yeah.
But it
That
will
sound
be.
like a lot of fun.
And what I'll probably do is I'll just be like, I'll show you the map. Where do you guys want to go? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
That's what I'm probably going to do.
Awesome.
Sandbox.
Have fun.
We do like sandbox.
Guys, thank you very
Those are
much.
fun.
Again, I thank the players. I thank our wonderful engineer for making this possible.
Yay!
And I hope to have you guys at my table very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow.